right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. Plus, it's Christmas, and let's party! Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to all. Shout out to Rhett in the building. Welcome, guys. I am very glad to see you. Real quick. Oh, I didn't even share the screen yet. Real quick, let's also say thank you to my6shirt.com, the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch, only at my6shirt.com. All right. We got Soil the Soap in the building. What is good, guys? Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I hope you guys, had a wonderful day. I hope that whatever you did today, regardless of what you believe, you spent time with people that you love, that you were able to create experiences that you will remember for a long time. That's what Christmas is about. I put up a poll on my community tab, hoping that you guys would get my drift, and asking whether Christmas is a Christian holiday or not. And most of you said yes, but I think that you would accept that despite the fact that I do not believe in your God, the fact that I respect your holiday, and the fact that I love this holiday is definitely, a good thing. And I would have been here. It's 8:14 right now. I told you guys I'm never late. You guys know I'm never late. But I was doing some real shit. If you were a part of the setup stream that I just did, you might have heard a little bit about this. But I was at my parents' house, and my sister and her fiance were there. And as you guys know, family and connection and all that stuff is just not a big part of my family. And so I'm telling my dad, as the patriarch, hey, you're the patriarch, you gotta do this. I'm like, why don't you figure out something that we can do as the men of the family? My brother happened not to be there, but would have been the case anyway. And so, there's this place near him called the Golf Cave, where it's like a virtual reality, not completely virtual reality golf. Like you actually hit the ball, but then there's like a screen. So I was like, maybe we could go there, but you gotta set it up in advance. I'm like, so fine. Let's just take a walk. Why is it that I have to tell you that? But fine. It's things as small as that. Taking a stroll around the block on Christmas between dinner and dessert that can build family. What else do we say is so important every goddamn day? So that is why I was late. So shout out to those of you who were here. Was it yesterday? I don't even know. The days are, I'm losing it. But the last show, we did the Timcast IRL live version with Charlie Kirk and James O'Keefe and Tucker Carlson live at AmericaFest 2023. And we only got halfway through, so I said, Ev it, let's go with part 2 on Christmas. And that's what we're doing. So let's back this up a little bit, see what in the hell they're talking about. But as always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me know.
Tucker's question, what has benefited humanity? I can't say the internet has, because it seems to be at best neutral, because it's also been weaponized by deep state elements on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube.
So I guess that's a good place to keep us or get us reacquainted with what we're talking about. The idea that has technology really been the best thing for us? Now, I remember as we were leaving off, Tucker was like, well, name me one good English novel since 1945. And a bunch of guys named a bunch of good novels since 1945. But let's see if he has a larger point.
silence people at the exact same time and create fake narratives.
It doesn't just silence them, it dumbs them down and also bastardizes them. It also promotes pornography, especially to children. It destroys their innocence. So I would kind of agree with Tucker here when it comes to this. And a lot of this sometimes has to do with short-term pleasures over long-term pleasures. But I think a lot of it also has a lot to do with a larger chemical castration that is happening systematically of the average male. If you look at sperm counts, they are dramatically going down. The average 22-year-old has lower testosterone than the average 70-year-old in the 1980s.
Yeah, I just went, as some of you guys know, I just went to the doctor for the first time in a while. I should have been there before, but there was no question. There was no question when I was getting my blood work done. Do you want to check your testosterone? I'm a short in stature, skinny man. No concern. No concern. Maybe testosterone is important. I think so.
That's not a coincidence. That's, of course, men with low T are more easy to be conquered and controlled and dominated and enslaved. There's a reason that I think there's a larger biological war out there, and whether it's fought with seed oils or high fructose corn syrup or with
plastic water bottles,
plastic PFAs, forever chemicals, whatever you might call it, there is a direct attack on your testosterone, on your balls, on your frickin' sperm levels, on your masculinity. If you're a male, there's nothing toxic about your masculinity. And I think we need to prioritize health.
Before he moves on, absolutely. There is nothing toxic about your masculinity. If you are engaging in toxic behavior, then you are not being masculine. If you are being masculine, you are not engaging in toxic behavior. Toxic masculinity is a thing that does not exist. Guys, can I just ask for 2 more likes, please, on that video? Thank you so much.
Luke, remember when we were kids and they said, don't eat Butterfinger and Mountain Dew at the same time, it'll lower your sperm count? We all got scared. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
I mean, here we are now, and it's like definitively, the chemicals leaching into your food through plastics do this, and everyone's like, oh, is it really doing that?
That's like the benefits outweigh the consequences.
It doesn't just give you Bill Gates moves, okay? It destroys any kind of resistance to the system.
He says as he's drinking coconut water from a plastic bottle. Yeah. But I mean no disrespect.
He's going to grow some coconuts.
No, but for us back at the studio, we bought reusable glass bottles. Hey, we're recycling. Look at that. We reuse. You refill your glass bottle with filtered water. But also we want to reduce how much plastic we have attached to the food we're eating.
But may I suggest one other downside, not to be dark about it, but technology has enabled the creation of a surveillance state that so outpaces anything East Germany even attempted.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot that I wanted to do this, but I am also going to pin the link to come on up to the chat here. I'm going to put it everywhere, and then comes up here. We're going to pin that here. Because as much as I do care about this conversation, as much as I do think this is an important conversation, there's a lot here, and this can be a standalone show. It's Christmas. So if you're watching a show like this, maybe you want to come and hang out.
Tempted. That the net effect, and ask yourself if you thought this recently, is that no one feels free to express unimproved thoughts, even in private, because you're being listened to, or that you could be listened to. And what is the effect on the human and the human soul when there's no place for you to honestly express yourself?
See, I'm the opposite. What was it? What was I just talking to Dr. Evil Genius about? Was it last night or this morning? It was something about not TikTok. BetterHelp. That's a whole other story. But there was a data breach at BetterHelp, and shout out Dr. Evil Genius. He was saying, hey, be careful. They have this reputation, that reputation. And I'm just like, data breach? Like, to think that there is somebody anywhere in the world that could want your information and not get it is silly. That's stupid. Yes, there was a time when we should have been better about privacy and our information. That ship has sailed. So just, my own little Christmas gift to you, if you were deciding not to get therapy because you were afraid of the BetterHelp data breach, they already got your data. Talk to somebody. Shout out to Colette. Welcome to the party. Said stupid feminist movement demasculates our men also. Exactly. Well said. Welcome.
Liberty is, impossible without privacy. You have to have. If there was no door in your bathroom or no on your bedroom, would you feel free? Of course not. That's solitary.
I don't have a door on my bedroom. I do live by myself, but I don't even have wall. Well, no, I have 2 walls, but it's a loft, so like there's no door in my bedroom. But point taken.
Confinement in prison. So the loss of our privacy is not some weird esoteric thing the ACLU used to care about. It's like it's foundational.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely correct. And one thing I firmly believe is that tyranny is fundamentally anti-intimacy. If there are people you trust and have genuinely intimate relationships with, you can tell things, you can share your real thoughts with, then you are a harder person to control because other people are there to tell you that you're not crazy for noticing things that they're noticing as well. And what we have done with intimacy is, firstly, we've turned it into a euphemism for sex. And anytime someone has an intimate relationship with a genuine friend, we make jokes about them being homosexual with that person.
So, I mean, obviously the notion of like, oh, you that's your boy, you guys gay. Like, yeah, I know that. But the notion of completely replacing the meaning of intimacy to be sex. I never really thought about that. That's an interesting point that we don't, I mean, if you dig into it and you talk to people about what do you look for when it comes to intimacy and stuff like that, then people will say more than just sex. But if you just talk about intimacy, people think of sex.
Intimate relationship with a genuine friend, we make jokes about them being homosexual with that person, or if it's a friend of the opposite sex, or even their spouse, if they have like a genuinely loving, caring relationship with their spouse where they bear their souls out to one another, we see that as strange. That should be somebody you just use for sex and not someone who you like actually have a deep spiritual connection with. And I think that's part of why pornography is so important to those in power, is because it strips one of the most intimate things people do of its intimacy.
It's been weaponized.
Rather, in the words of Carol Wojtyla, rather than showing too much of a person, pornography shows too little of a person. It strips the human dignity away from the subject.
Facts.
And again, I will go back to contraceptives. It does it with contraceptives. You're not rolling the dice when you're with this person. You're not rolling the dice and saying, this is someone I'm willing to bring life into the world with.
You're making a strong case for the papacy, I have to say. I've always made fun of it.
They say that
you're getting me.
We're in the apocalypse, or that we're entering the apocalypse.
You want to hear the strongest case for the papacy I've heard, by the way, Tucker? This is from, I believe this was Bellick, and he said, part of the reason I know the Catholic Church is the true church founded by Jesus Christ is because no organization run so incompetently for 2,000 years could still possibly survive.
Well, it's funny.
It's old, so therefore it's right. It's Christmas, so I'll let it slide. But we know that logic is not how it works. So it's also weaponized what few instincts humans have left. Pretty much.
Again, I'm coming at it from some of my closest friends. Some of my closest friends are Catholics, but actually that's true. And there's certain things that I love about the Catholic Church.
Who got the joke that he just made? Who got the joke that Tucker just made? I want to know if that's just me or if you guys heard it too. Listen to it again. See if you see. Maybe he didn't even make a joke, and maybe I'm reading into it. But I want to know if you guys hear it.
Well, it's funny. Again, I'm coming at it from some of my closest friends. Some of my closest friends are Catholics, but actually that's true.
To be artistry, got it. Shout out to
church.
Hold on.
But
let's do this. Where is it? What? Shout out to be artistry over on Instagram. Welcome to the party. All right, she got it, but we interrupted it. Let's see. Is she the only one?
That's true. Again, I'm coming at it from some of my closest friends. Some of my closest friends are Catholics, but actually that's true. And there's so many things that I love about the Catholic Church.
No, she's the only one. Shout out to be artistry.
But I'm not pro the Pope. Okay, I'm just not. And so a couple people have pushed me and
papacy or this Pope.
Both.
Yeah.
Probably both. But I'll just be honest. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just very offended by this Pope. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I've said that to a couple people, close friends.
What does papacy mean? Office or authority of the Pope? Oh, so they're basically just saying this Pope sucks? Is that what they're getting? All right. Said, being a boomer, no one can control my thoughts or speech except me. There you go. Shout out to Ayush. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Merry Christmas, whether you celebrate or not. Indeed, it is Christmas. And so I will continue to say Merry Christmas. Chibi said he meant, let me pull this up. To be said, come on. He meant that the group is ran horribly, so it should have died already. Well, that's not the joke I was thinking of it. Let's go one more time, and then I'll tell you guys what I heard.
Papacy or this?
Not pro, and there's so many things from it. Some of my
Survive.
Well, it's funny. I'm, again, I'm coming at it from it. Some of my closest friends. Some of my closest friends are Catholics.
Some of my closest friends are Catholics. You know, when white people get accused of being racist, and they're like, "Well, some of my closest friends are black." That was the joke.
But actually, that's true. And there's so many things that I love about the Catholic Church. But, I'm not pro the Pope, okay? I'm just not. And so a couple people have pushed me and...
Papacy or this Pope?
Both.
Both?
Probably both, but I'll just be honest. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just very offended by this Pope, okay? Mm-hmm. So I've said that to a couple people, close friends of mine who are Catholic, who said, "Oh, yeah, we are too." And I was like, well, how...
They're more offended than you, Tucker.
Yeah, they're more offended. Exactly. That's insightful. They're more offended than I am. And I said, well, okay, I was offended by the Episcopal Church. I left. Mm-hmm. And I love not being in that church. But they said, no. The church is far bigger than this guy. We've had a lot of bad popes, actually.
Exactly.
And I love that attitude. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Why? That is something that I don't understand. Why do you love... Like, well, yeah, we've had a lot of people in charge of our entire dogmatic religion who were bad. Why is that comforting?
We're in this thing called the apocalypse, I think, right now.
We could be in the end times.
And it's like the great revealment, really, is what the term means. And it's like the truth. We talk about honesty. Yeah. And if you're going to hide...
Shout out to Morty. Remember, Morty gets a treat with every single super chat or donation, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Bitcoin, whatever it is. Feed the man.
Secrets. Is it righteous or just to force your secrets into the open so that now you're forced to be honest? Like a neural net? And we're all honest with each other at all times? Is that too far? Because
that's where we're headed.
It seems like TMI.
Liberty. Yeah. But the liars, what do you do?
Well, I don't even know what a neural net is, but I want to say conclusively I'm opposed to it.
Yeah, Elon's working on it.
That's why in Christianity, you only want a loving God to know your thoughts.
Oh, God. We'll come back to that. So it says, I wondered if a pope could be the Antichrist, if there's such a thing. Stuff like that is interesting to think of to me. So meaning like the idea of the pope or this pope particularly. Because either way, that would make a lot of sense to me. That would make a lot of sense. The idea of having a pope is the Antichrist. A man in the eyes of, I guess Catholicism plays fast and loose with the no other idols thing. But like between saints and the Pope and Mary and all this, it's like, who is it? Who is it that you really worship? Not necessarily this Pope. Okay. Yeah. I makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
Well, and Nikki Haley wants to know everything.
If an unloving thing sees your thoughts, imagine what would happen.
A neural net would be like...
Oh, yeah. I want to come back to that.
Conclusively, I'm opposed to it.
Yeah, Elon's working on it.
That's why in Christianity,
wants to know everything.
If an unloving thing sees your thoughts, imagine what would happen.
So only a loving God should see your thoughts, because imagine, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What is the message that he's trying to convey there?
Neural net would be like a brain-computer interface where you're sending commands and receiving commands from machines in real time with your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not going to be an early adapter of that.
Well, that's the danger of the AI and the artificial intelligence. As many world leaders said, whoever controls artificial intelligence first will control the world. Vladimir Putin said, the country that leads in AI will be the ruler of the world. With this technology, especially with its perpetual growth, there's a lot of threats and challenges for humanity that we need to address immediately.
Why doesn't someone blow it up? Like, what freaks me out most about AI is how everyone's so passive in its rise, in the face of its rise. It's like, if you think this thing is existentially dangerous, it could extinguish human society, why doesn't someone blow up the servers?
Well,
everyone's like, oh, there's nothing we could do, and we're very concerned. How concerned are you?
It's not only that. There's also
Aish says, man can manipulate you if you show weakness is his point. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that, which is the entire thing behind not having dogmatic beliefs is that you can be that man who is manipulative or being manipulated. And so if you stay to a uncorruptible process, aka science, not the science, not the thing that we told you the science told us, but the actual process of science, which is uncorruptible, then we have no weakness.
Also a larger possibility that the AI could already be in charge. We haven't thought about that, because if it is, the people in charge wouldn't be telling everyone, the AI's here, guys. They would be using it for their own sinister purposes. So I think...
I mean, Tim kind of talks about that all the time. He's like, well, Facebook knows when you poop. I mean, if that's not control, what is control? So this is what, So the Soul said, what can we do about AI? Revolt? Somehow I don't see that happening. It isn't something in general, it isn't something in the general public's control right now. I agree with you. I mean, as much as I think it is important to be aware of the like what's going on with AI, what people are looking to do and keeping up with, as much as it's important to keep up with that, you can't really do anything about it. There's people who have the keys, and they're not you, and they're not me. So it's scary. Scary. Well, it says Pope Francis is not Catholic, but a one world religion promoter. He is like a false prophet. And again, that's kind of what, ever since I was a Catholic, I always thought that that's kind of what being the Pope was. It was Pope John, I guess the third, sounds right. 15 years ago, Pope John. I don't know, but either way, I'm like, why is he? Just didn't make sense.
We could be living in a situation where the AI is having more of an effect on our lives than we could even realize right now.
I think you can't blow it up because it's actually, you could knock out servers, but the data itself that writes the code is decentralized.
Well, then it's an autonomous being, and it obviously is not, you can't hand control of human society over to a non-human.
Exactly. So it's a special club, and you ain't in it.
Bingo.
Like, I'm not, I'm a sub-genius, and even I get that, so what are we doing?
I think the code should be open so that we can see what this thing's doing at the very least. But I think of it as...
Where is Zippy? He watched the entire previous stream and was commenting, and I needed him. Zippy, where are you? I need you to explain why freeing the code and having all these IP rights is a bad... or why you want to free the code and why the IP rights are bad. You and Ian keep talking about the same thing, and I don't get it, and I want to get it. I might not agree, but at least if I get it, I'll get it.
An inevitability like the atom bomb. Like, whoever gets it first is going to control the planet for 50 years.
This is the issue. You have all of these different companies basically agreeing, hey, this thing's going to be really dangerous, but if we don't do it, they will. Right, so we better be the ones in control of it, and you have governments.
And you can argue open sourcing the code is too dangerous. If they'd open source the Manhattan Project and Hitler built it first, we'd probably all be speaking German right now. Mm-hmm. So that's a very real thing. Like, secrecy is a valuable tool in global domination. And it's not like you have to try and dominate, but like, if you just sit back behind your walls and wait, someone's coming one day.
We don't have walls is the thing. Well, we don't even have that luxury. We don't have walls to sit behind.
Yeah, pods.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all, please hit that like button, guys. It helps so much. Thank you.
I don't believe that there is a practical solution, and that is deeply worrisome, because I don't think people truly...
You really don't? Like, it's past the point that we can control it.
Well, possibly. I don't know what he's about to say. I haven't watched this far at all. And the idea that there's no way to control this. That statement, there's no way to control this. What is this? I haven't heard what he's going to say. Tucker's clearly making an assumption there. That like, oh, well, the world is over and whatever. I don't think that's what Tim's about to say. I think Tim is going to talk about a much more subtle implementation of this technology that is it's if you think about how the internet and social media already drives our life, there's no way to stop that. And I don't understand why you or anyone else would think that a more powerful version of that would be able to be stopped. So let's see how close I am.
Because I don't think people truly...
You really don't? Like, it's
past pollution, and that is deeply worrisome. Because I don't think people truly...
You really don't? Like, it's past the point that we can control it.
We may be past the event horizon, the point at which...
I think, yeah.
The pull towards AI is so great, there's no backing away from it. We're being sucked in faster and faster.
I think you can go into it.
So like that's the physics of a black hole, where you can there's an event horizon. I mean, we've all seen Interstellar, right? You get to a certain point, and as soon as you cross that threshold, you get spaghettified into the black hole. But the discussion of what happens if you get that close, because nobody's ever been that close, because we know what will happen. It's a little bit more of an open question. I used to say, Tucker sounds like a troglodyte. This is really not his area, just peddling fear of the unknown. I don't disagree with you. But I think that there is a lot of fear, and there is a lot of unknown with AI. So I don't think that he's necessarily doing a disservice, because I think that lack of knowledge is representative of most of the people who would identify with Tucker Carlson. Does that make sense? Like, I don't disagree with you, because I have a little bit better understanding of AI and technology than it seems like he does. But at the same time, I know a lot of people who have a much worse understanding of technology. And what he's saying doesn't seem like he's purposely trying to push a narrative. Like you said, it's peddling fear of the unknown, which is not really the worst thing in the world, you know? So the soul said, past the event horizon. Good way to put it. I think he may be right on point. But that doesn't automatically mean a negative. Exactly. It just means that there's certain solutions, there's certain avenues, there's certain whatever you want to whichever way you want to put it. There's certain things to solve this that are gone. That doesn't mean that it cannot be solved. That just means again, the notion of that ship has sailed. Okay, if you want to if you have a ship and you don't want it to, if you want to get on that ship, as long as it's tied to the dock, there's no issue with that. The phrase "that ship has sailed" means that while once it was reasonable for you to get on that ship because of the events that have happened, i.e. that ship moving away from the dock, you can no longer do what you once could do. And so that is, I think, what he's saying. I think he's just honestly, it's just not something he knows about. Not something he knows about.
With these neural nets, a human that understands the code can go into the system, be in the virtual realm, and reverse engineer the code.
All right, Neo.
What's happening and how it's being written in real time and change it with their minds. It's true.
I mean, maybe.
I would just do it with a keyboard, man. I'm not going into that.
But listen, this is Elon Musk's argument. We must integrate with the machine lest we get a Terminator-like scenario.
Absolutely. And that's
let's do a poll on that. If you're not on YouTube, just let me know what you think. Should we integrate with technology? And the idea being, should we integrate with technology so that technology does not take over humanity? That is the context. So if you don't think, right, where is Zebby? If you don't think that technology will overtake humanity like that, then we're not in that. That's a no. But if you think it will, and you think we could stop that by, joining up, that's the question we're asking. So I said, I will not be participating in the singularity. No thanks. Sorry, I'm trying to read the best I can, but I already had like half a bottle Prosecco, and I ain't stopping. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. The cyborg versus android debate. I'm not sure if I know the difference between a cyborg and an android. I was going to even Google, but not even. I don't even want to Google. This is a GPT. This is a GPT question. what is the difference between a cyborg and an android? A cyborg? Oh, God. Jesus. Okay. A cyborg and android are both entities that blend human and artificial elements, but have some fundamental differences. One, a cyborg or a cybernetic organism. A cyborg is a being composed of both organic and biomechatronic parts. Typically, a cyborg is a human who's been enhanced or augmented. Okay. Example, android, on the other hand, is completely artificial. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. So I don't know if that's directly in line, but certainly, the cyborg thing is exactly what we're talking about. Is we are already cyborgs. We are already cyborgs. What's your maybe you know your parents' phone number? What's your best friend's phone number? You don't know. It's stored in here. This is your memory. Your brain is detached from your body. You know your friend's phone number, but it's just not stored in your biological body. It's stored in your cybernetic extension. And that's only where it starts. So Cinema, I don't know. I'm not sure a society like ours could make an android like Data from Star Trek. I think it would end up being more like the Borg. Well, I mean, I still remember numbers from like the third grade. There you go. And I mean, it's like you said, it's the age old debate, but it's very interesting as to whether or not androids, now that I'm well versed on an android versus a cyborg, whether androids, just AI, complete technology, no human aspect, could overtake. I don't see why not, but I absolutely do see a reason to want to prevent the android takeover by becoming cyborgs, if that makes sense. Right? If you can't beat them, join them. If you don't know if you can beat them, join them before they can beat you. There you go.
Do you really think this is going to end well? I mean, honestly.
No. But listen, this is the scary thing. This is what people need to understand about the singularity event. When AI, when it actually turns on, when we reach artificial general intelligence,
we might be there.
And we might be there and just not know it. It's a point at which the machine itself exponentially improves itself. So if the rate of growth for the computer systems that we're building is, say, Moore's law, it doubles every 2 years. Once we reach the point of AI singularity, or I guess you could call it artificial general intelligence, it's just straight to the top, right up to the point of near infinity, where this machine is improving itself, learning faster and faster and calculating faster.
He says, nah, bro, a phone is a tool, not an integral part of our body. With your logic, a notebook that can carry data is going to make us a cyborg. The only thing I would say why I don't think that is because of the use case that we didn't outsource our knowledge in that way with notebooks. Like you may have taken notes on things, but there was no expectation that like that's the line between, a reference like an encyclopedia or a textbook. I agree that's a thin line, but I disagree with your premise. And yes, it is a tool, but so is everything else that we're talking about. Neural net is a tool. We're talking about the integration of tools to our body. And so I'm going to assume we agree that we've exported some of our memory. We agree that we've exported our brain function to the phone. You're saying that that's just a tool. But what is the tool? To me, because it's a tool that holds a body that does a bodily function. It's different than just a tool. Like, yes, it is a tool, but that doesn't negate what I'm saying. That's where I'm at. So the ship has sailed with all the elites, CEOs, and governments on it. Yep. Yep. It's just the rest of us now.
And then it's beyond our comprehension, like nearly instantly.
So the people who created that are evil. I mean, right?
Yep.
And so
There you go. There you go. There you go. Technically, our memories have gotten worse over time since we created writing. Think about it. No new myths and legends since then in our collective memories. It's almost all before writing. And even if that's not the case, even if that's, we have, I mean, I'm sure we could think of Bigfoot or something that came after the invention of writing, but that's not the point. The point of what she's saying is exactly right. Our memories have gotten worse. And when Johann, I believe it was Johann Gutenberg, right? Gutenberg? Definitely Gutenberg. I think Johann. But when the printing press came around, all the same arguments about the internet, about smartphones, about TikTok, about all this stuff, about how people weren't going to be able to do this, that anymore. The same arguments went around from academics into intellectuals that, once we start writing things down, people aren't going to be able to remember things anymore. I'm not necessarily saying that I disagree that the invention of writing was the beginning of the singularity. I'm not saying it is, but you have to prove that it's not, if that's your position. He says the replacement of any of our body function makes us a cyborg. So, for example, a person with a pacemaker is a cyborg. Yes, absolutely. What? Yes, of course. Does anybody disagree with that? Does anybody think that a person with a pacemaker is not in the realm of what we're talking about when we're talking about a cyborg, where we have a machine doing a bodily function?
why are they rich and powerful?
I would say it's many of them. I would argue there's what I would refer to as the banality of evil. That it is a commonplace endeavor to get a job working for a company that's developing this and having no idea that you are starting the fire, which could be the destruction of human individualism.
I'm with Tucker. The indifference from people that could do something is unbelievable to me. I'm not an expert on it at all. And
all that needs to happen for atrocities to occur is for good men to do nothing. Guys, we are at 50-50 on the poll. Should we integrate with technology so that technology does not take over who we are? Hit that poll.
With Tucker, I don't understand except the possible threat. But why have we not had some form of a government-mandated pause on this thing?
Because it's not going to stop China.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so maybe I misunderstood. Is my example to agree. Memory doesn't serve that much function as it used to today because we have easier ways of saving. It's not efficient to keep wasting hours and hours to remember. All right, so we're all on the same page. So but you did say nah, bro. So you can't say, I was just agreeing. Okay, maybe you're agreeing, but you did originally say no. I'm glad we're all on the same page. No, writing was the beginning of the cyborg singularity. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, so what does that mean? That means that they are going to have their own supercomputer that can then kill their people?
Well, but no, the Western globalists working in China.
Wait, hold on. How are they going to develop AI that they can control?
They're also, I'm just as frightened about all of it as you guys are, but there are also certain applications that are clearly far worse that I don't think China's developing that we...
Wait. How do we get there? We had phones, or excuse me, we had pacemakers before we had phones, or at least smartphones. So what's the logic there? I'm willing to hear it. Because and maybe you're going to say something about how pacemakers are specific function or something like that. But what's the argument that if you have a pacemaker, that's down the road or in the category of a cyborg, but if you're exporting your memory, your literal brain function, if you're exporting your heart function, you're a cyborg. If you're exporting your brain function, you're not a cyborg. Please explain why those are different.
We are that
a little bit.
Too, because
in China.
Wait, hold on. How are they going to develop AI that they can control?
They're also
okay. How is having all of the numbers you've ever come across? How is that not an augmentation of a bodily function? You can't remember that many phone numbers.
Look, I'm just as frightened about all of it as you guys are, but there are also certain applications that are clearly,
remember, the link is pinned to the top of the chat if you want to come up and make your argument,
far worse, that I don't think China's developing, that we need to stop. So for example, I saw somebody posting about an AI dating bot on the internet where men who are too scared to talk to women start talking to this thing, and it's trained to tell them what they want to hear. And that is going to destroy so many lives. That should be immediately stopped from happening.
Well, okay. So before we go into that, so the source says, okay, well, is taking medicine an augmentation? So someone who takes insulin, are they a cyborg? So I would say no, because taking insulin is a remedy to something that the body is not doing properly. So that throws into the question the pacemaker. But I think the difference is technology versus chemicals, because medicine is merely chemicals. So if you take insulin, that's not technology in the way that we would typically. That's not a computer. That's not a machine doing anything. That's chemicals that you're putting into your body, that your body is either not producing properly or producing too much or something like that. So I would say no on medicine, because medicine is merely a catalyst to make your body do what it's already supposed to do. Whereas, even though that is the same case with a pacemaker, it is a separate entity than your body. When you take medicine, I don't know if I have the best words to articulate that, but if we understand that, then that's where I'm separating the difference. That you're putting a thing to do a job that your body's not doing, versus putting a chemical to catalyze your body doing what it already would have done. All right, so when you're introducing a technology that becomes an integral part of your bodily system, that's when you're a cyborg. Phone is external to all bodily systems. So you're just drawing the line as to inside of the skin or outside of the skin. So if I had my phone inside my skin, then I would be a cyborg. But if I have my phone outside of my skin, then I'm not a cyborg. Is that what you're saying, Aish? Let me go back to Solo said, well, pacemaker is a remedy too, but yes, it's a physical device implanted. So you would say chemical medicine is not augmentation. Yes. All right. Beautiful. So we're all on the same page. So it is not just the augmentation of a bodily function, but a device that augments that function. I like that. See, this is what you can do when you got smart viewers. I love it. Shout out to Richard Goodson. Merry Christmas and welcome to the party. So for those of us who don't have family to be with right now, thank you for doing this live stream. You are very, very, very welcome, Richard, and you are welcome here. This is your home. We can be your family. I am so glad to be here for you. We were just talking about what is the line between making you a cyborg versus not a cyborg. And I think we've determined that a pacemaker, because it's a piece of technology, is in the category of cyborg, but medicine, because it's making your body do what it already can do, is not making you a cyborg. There you go. Welcome.
Going to destroy so many lives.
Oh, yeah. I want to this. So we're moving on from that because he just brought up something else. I don't even remember what he said, but I remember that he was like, oh, snap, I need to address that. So I think we all agree on that. Feel free to, if you have anything else on that. But yeah, moving on. And again, shout out to let's give a dilly to Richard Goodson. You good, son?
That should be immediately stopped from happening. If civil authorities were interested in promoting the common good, that would be banned. You would not be able to sell that. You would not be able to make that.
We actually have a big break.
Wait.
To hear, to talk to women.
Oh, the AI dating
bot on the internet, where men who are too scared to talk to women start talking to this thing, and it's trained to tell them what they want to hear. And that is going to destroy so many lives. That should be immediately stopped from happening.
Okay. All right. I agree with the sentiment. I absolutely agree with the sentiment that these AI bots are horrible and terrible for men. Should they be banned by the government? I don't know about that. Put a 1 in the chat if you think AI girlfriend bots should be allowed. And put a 2 if you think should be banned. 1 if girlfriend bots should be allowed. 2 if you think they should be banned. Let's see. So Soul to Soul says banning stuff is almost always a no for me in general. I said shit. Me too. Yep. Richard said, I think they're trying to make us like Ghost in the Shell, if you know that anime. I'm semi-familiar with it, but yeah, seems like it. Seems like it. Yep, we got a 1 there. You said a piece of technology that becomes an integral part of, so we're going back to cyborg android stuff. Piece of technology that becomes an integral part of your bodily systems, like putting a chip into a neural network, a dialysis machine, or pacemaker. When we design your systems, when your systems die, blah, 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 blah. Well, you're not done, so we'll come back to that. Okay, so you think that they should be banned? Why do you think that somebody who is, creating these bots, what is it that they are doing that is illegal or should be illegal? Again, I agree that it's terrible, but capitalism should be the leading factor. It should be shameful. It should be so shameful to tell anybody that, hey, I have a girlfriend. She's right here. It's an AI girlfriend. That no man would think that that's a reasonable alternative to having an actual girlfriend. Rich said, if they're going to try to grow humans in bags, what do you think they will do when they make robot girlfriends? Again, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, Richard. But do we want the government to be able to tell us what we should be able to do with those things? Or are we, as Americans, smart enough and valued enough to be able to say, no, we're not going to engage in that, even though that is legal, and it should be legal because we believe in liberty.
If civil authorities were interested in promoting the common good, that would be banned. You would not be able to sell that. You would not be able to make that.
We actually have a big breaking story about this. And James O'Keefe, waiting on deck to come and talk to us about it. But I know that, Tucker, you want to hang out and keep talking about this.
Of course, yeah.
Then, Ian, would you mind swapping out with James?
Yeah, but I'm going to come out here and rub your shoulders
yeah,
at some
James.
point.
All right.
Oh,
so
we love you.
But this is actually perfect timing. James O'Keefe has a big story on IBM. These are computer companies and their views on woke gender ideology. So he's waiting right now if you want to run back and send him out.
See you later,
and then
everybody.
he can
Thank you so much, Ian. Ian, the man. Don't forget, I had Ian on this channel. Talked to him for a full hour and a half. Definitely check that out if you have not seen it. Hey, Virgil's back. Welcome, Virgil. Man, having a hard time over there in Manchester, England. The guy next to me is Tommy Gallagher, the dad of Noel and Liam Gallagher from Manchester, England. The band Oasis. Known him all my life, and he's a great guy. Don't believe the hype. What was the hype? What was the hype? Was there some shady shit going on with Oasis? I was not very familiar, but welcome, and thank you, Virgil. Thank you. Virgil said, oh, absolutely. Not less control to the government. Always just make it socially unacceptable. Agreed. We can do that. We can say, hey, we hate that thing. We don't want that thing. Get that the fuck out of here. But it's allowed. We can do that. And that's how it's been for a long time with most things that we don't like. And people just didn't do them because they didn't want to be shamed. We didn't need big daddy government to say, oh, you can do this. Or no, you can't do that. You can do this. Is it illegal? I didn't know. We're men. We're adults. You said augmentation device. Okay, so going back to our discussion on androids versus cyborgs if you are using something, technology to replace a bodily function, you are a cyborg. So I use it as a piece of technology that becomes an integral part of your bodily systems, like putting chip into a neural network, a dialysis machine, a pacemaker. When we design your systems diagram, we'll put the augmentation device inside your bodily system's boundary. For example, in your digestive system, nervous system, breathing system, we'd have that technology as an integral block of that body process. Not sure I'm following, to be honest. You should hit the link, brother. You should hit the link. Merry Christmas to you as well, Virgil. Can I get a react? I would appreciate a like or maybe a love, but I'll take whatever I can get. Richard said, if the N-word can be so taboo and socially unacceptable, then why not robot girlfriends? If the N-word can be so taboo and socially unacceptable, why not robot girlfriends? Well said, sir. Well said.
Can probably provide some insights into us as to what these companies are doing.
Round of applause for Ian.
Shout out to
Thank you, Ian.
Tucker,
He's in?
What a star.
Good for
What
you.
a
So
star.
this actually is perfect timing in this conversation, as we know that James has been putting out these videos, undercover videos, or I believe leaked videos from IBM talking about their gender ideology, commandments, and mandates. And let's hopefully he's out here.
James O'Keefe?
Anybody
Are
home?
they going to do?
He's gonna.
There he is. James O'Keefe, everybody.
It's a bulletproof vest.
So James,
You got a few enemies, James?
you heard what we were talking about.
Hello.
Yeah, so definitely, it's a good thing that we have these types of tools that can improve people's lives. The question is, how do we know when that goes too far? How do we know when that goes too far? And James O'Keefe here is going to talk about a story with IBM, the biggest company of having computer stuffs. Gets spicy.
Hi, Tim.
Thanks for coming.
Nice to see you.
Tucker was asking about the people and the companies behind the creation of these computer systems and AI, and I said, actually, James has some deep insights into what these companies do.
Yeah, well, you said it today, Charlie, about the 10 commandments within
Yeah, I said it
IBM.
on PBD's show. I connected.
So first of all, this is not
I forgot to
a
turn
vape
off
pen.
my thingy.
Not electronic, but it's
Did all the stories together because they're two seemingly unrelated stories. So
I promise I follow all of the terms and services.
IBM announces all this AI growth and their stock goes up. And then James O'Keefe reveals that they have the 10 commandments that govern the values of IBM. And so basically IBM is telling you that they're creating a woke super weapon.
This is so demonic.
No, that's basic. And
Exactly.
And the 10 commandments are not, the 10 that were revealed to Moses on Sinai. They're literally like that white people can't be racist, that black people can do nothing wrong, that Ali, it's literally.
It says, quote, understand only white people are racist.
Understand only white people are racist. Sucks for you. I can't be racist. What's good? It's insane. And they're calling it the 10 Commandments. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily offended as an atheist. But it's clear what they're trying to do.
It is the woke.
Is that an exact quote?
That's an exact quote.
It is the woke
10
anti-racist decalogue is what.
And you said something pretty profound. You said that eventually AI will make this the actual 10 commandments.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, if you think for a second, I mean, Yuval Harari has already said that artificial intelligence is going to rewrite its own religion for Bible stories that, quote, make more sense for people. Wow. Yeah, I mean, they're
Maybe, just maybe, before that happens, we can be smart enough to move away from dogma and have ideas that are based in reality. But religion is perfect. And AI is not going to be able to do anything with that. Richard says, I'm a ginger and my son is biracial. I'm the worst racist in the world. I'm helping create black people. Love it. Hilarious. All right, look who we got here. A special guest, Ayush Gupta. Welcome to the party. bringing the Android versus cyborg debate. What is good, brother?
Hey, it's going all right. And today is Christmas, so Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
In saying that, although I do not celebrate it, or maybe I do actually celebrate it. I got a gift. I was actually in the middle of building a toy car.
There you go. That's Christmas to me, brother. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too, and everyone watching. Merry Christmas.
So, so talk to me a little bit more about what you're trying to say here with this Android versus cyborg thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So my frame of reference is basically anime that I watch. It's One Piece basically, and they actually have some sort of like conversation happening in those spheres. Like they have characters that are android, characters that are cyborg, and what exactly is like more uplifting for the human race, for example. So I would fall in the category of the people considering the cyborg is the next way forward, like the frontier, which to be honest, we're already there.
Yeah. So if anybody missed that, cyborg is basically a human that has extra technology parts, and an android, for simplicity's sake, is not human. It's completely artificial.
Right. So android is something that you would basically start from scratch. You would do some like a gene editing, and then you will, process them in like a bionic chamber, and just collection of organs and stuff, which are basically getting developed from like some biological mixture, chemical, and mixture of all of that. So the resultant of that specific kind of thing, it's like it goes on the ethics part, like whether or not we can give that entity the same rights as humans. So that is like a completely different conversation. I think the conversation we currently want to focus on is in the terms of like technology, which of the two is more fruitful for the humanity. And I'm basically saying, in case of the cyborg, like we are basically augmenting human beings in many multiple methods. So you have like exoskeleton for the people working on assembly lines in current scenario. So that's also like, we don't want the humans to take all the labor, and we want to like ameliorate all those kind of pains. So we want to help the humans. That's why we should make all different sorts of technologies to lessen the burden of all the different labor. And if being a cyborg gets us there, it's a worthy effort in my understanding. And what Open AI and the company that Elon Musk funds is working on is like a neural network chip. And the current focus is to give sight to blind people. Like how good of a, like how much better of a worthy novel effort could it be? There are people who are blind, the entire life they just go and like they haven't seen anything. And us as human being, we should do all our efforts if we can find a way out for them, right? So that kind of like cyborg technologies that can help them out is I'm all up for. And the conversation that these people were having about the singularity and stuff like that, it's they don't understand what they're talking about. That is the first idea.
Yeah. Well, I think most people don't really know what to expect. Like they understand that technology is growing. They understand that more of our lives are being taken over by technology. And I think, what you said about the fear of the unknown is a legitimate fear of the unknown, because even as somebody who's, really into, biotech stuff and all that, even those people don't really know. And so that's kind of what I was saying, is that like, yes, I agree with you that he's kind of just spouting fear of the unknown, but I think that fear of the unknown is shared by a lot of people from all different demographics.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that as well. So that is where it makes a sense to introduce to people that, hey, this kind of things are already here, and they have been helping people out in multiple ways. So like first, probably try to identify what exactly is the intent of a particular goal, and then we can judge the ethics of that specific action. Like obviously technology in bad hands does bad things, so we have to consider that. Obviously we have people like Bill Gates who fund all different kinds of like I don't know if we want to go there. But there
Bastion.
are some shady,
Shady. There you go. That's a perfect word. So I guess the conclusion then is to just be aware that similar to what Soul the Soul was saying, is that technology of any sort is a tool, and we have to just be very what's the word I'm looking for? What did you say?
Cognizant of the
yes fact. Perfect word. Very cognizant about where the technology is going, what are we doing with this technology, and that is going to be the difference. Not the technology itself, not what the technology can do, but how we use the technology. That will be the difference between whether we're taken over by the androids or whether we all become cyborgs who are living in a dream world, or obviously simplifying that, but
basically the first thing will be to get everyone all the sense organs that everybody else shares. We had the ear machines, hearing machines, hearing aids, and then all of these are basically that they are all trying to help people live life without whatever the battles they are fighting. So that's the technology which lends us in the cyber realm, and I'm all up for that. I mean, there will be some added challenges of introducing different materials in the body, but like engineers are working on them. Like I am actually an engineer, so I understand pretty well how all these things work. So even like in the joints, so when somebody is like a paraplegic or some augmentation of like a body organ, when you lose a limb or something, all of that is very worthy noble effort in my understanding, and not scare ourselves away from all that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think that what Richard's saying here, like in Ghost in the Shell, good movie, they were not living in a dream world, but your brain was subject to being hacked, and you controlled it. So the again, the focus on what is the technology that we're using and how are we using it. That's really the focus of how we can maintain control, at least a modicum of control over the technology moving forward.
Yeah, so I would like to add on the Ghost in the Shell topic. There have been like some experiments which are very, very difficult to parse through. So there is when you are suspending your consciousness inside of a completely made up scenario, that is the very, very difficult thing to understand what we want to do with it. So the thing which the team at Meta is promoting, they are going for like a completely AI kind of a universe where you have just suspended your consciousness inside a completely new world. And do we allow those kind of systems to control our thoughts and feelings? Because then the division between like recognizing what's real and what's not becomes so blurry. Like if you stay inside like a meta AI universe long enough, it will be very difficult for you to understand like where the lines are. So you do that enough, that's where you land yourself into like a problem of singularity, and your individuality goes away. We are not talking about all of that. That's obviously really wrong, and enough people should like pay heed to not letting those kind of developments happen. But if you could.
All right, man. Well, thank you definitely for clearing up that and adding to this whole cyborg versus Android thing. Cleared up a lot. Thank you so much for coming up and clearing that up, brother. Anything you want to say before you dip out?
Thank you for inviting me. This was really a productive discussion, and as always, I love chatting with the group and all the back and forth. And this was the one of the times that I could contribute in little more,
expertise.
So I came on.
Word up. Well, thank you so much, brother. Very much appreciated. You have a good one. So clearly, it's not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing of how do we move forward with technology. That's obviously a very, very big question. And I think, what Ayush was saying about being aware of what is possible and where, who has the power of this, that, whatever. That stuff is going to be very important to pay attention to, and especially as James O'Keefe is talking about now with IBM doing, honestly, I'm not really sure what they did, but probably pretty important. So let's check it out. I'm gonna back this up a little bit.
That eventually AI will make this the actual 10.
Oh yeah, the 10 Commandments.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, if you think for a second, I mean, Yuval Harari has already said that artificial intelligence is going to rewrite its own religion for Bible stories that, quote, make more sense for people.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, of course they need to go after the actual 10 Commandments. It's not going to be honor your mother and father. It's going to be honor your lesbian black master.
Yeah, Yuval Harari also said,
oh, hell no.
No. And what Richard is saying here, all we need to do, guys, to fight this is just go outside and touch grass once a day. Just do it. And they won't steal your soul. They might steal your soul. Just go touch grass.
That the era of free will is over. That's the type of centralized thinking that these individuals are.
Let's give him one.
I mean, free will never existed, but again, that's a whole other conversation.
Power.
Well, Tucker, you said that they were creating a god. They're creating a demon. They're creating a devil.
A false god, an idol.
Absolutely.
See, that's why I hate this fucking religious language. What does that mean? What is the difference between creating a god and creating a devil? Any one of you, please explain to me what Tim just meant when he said they're not creating a god, they're creating a devil.
What?
That means nothing. You are just saying words. That means nothing. You know what you mean. Everybody else has an idea of what these words mean and will map them onto that. But you're not saying things. Anybody, explain to me what Tim just meant when he said they're not creating a god, they're creating a devil. What does that mean? You do not know. You don't know. You might have your own interpretation, but you have no fucking clue what Tim meant by that. This is why religious language will always be the bane of the conservative ideology. Always. We got that one. Colette said, we are the Borg. You will be assimilated. It is futile to resist. We are the Borg. Hell no. Hell no. They will not take me. I am fighting. I am fighting all the way down. Richard said, you're right. You're right. Being aware is being aware is absolutely key because there is no stopping it. Yep. Hey, we got Joe Mama in the building. Welcome to the party. Merry Christmas to you. Hey, we're just getting it in. So this rhetoric helps to keep people in. This rhetoric helps to keep people in fear. That's the purpose of all of this, and that's why it's so frustrating. It's because on one hand, you're talking about, here, look at the thing that they're making you scared. And then using the language that keeps you afraid to talk about it. What are we doing? One step forward, two steps back.
God.
They're give him more power.
Well, again, I'm still waiting. If anybody, Merry Christmas, $5 Cash App, if you can explain to me, before he explains it, what he means by this.
Tucker, you said that they were creating a god. They're creating a demon. They're creating a devil.
Okay. What?
A false god, an idol.
Absolutely. For sure. No, it's a demon, but what's so interesting is, at least, in the whole management kerfuffle over there at AIHQ, the letter that got him bounced briefly.
Damn, Morty is hungry. He has not gotten a single thing for Christmas. Damn, I thought in Christianity, like, Christmas is a big deal. All right, whatever.
From the helm said these people are like, dancing around the proverbial fire, worshiping this thing. And I'm like, of course they are. Of course.
Exactly, Richard. We have a general idea that some destructive force. But when you're talking about a specific thing and you're saying, no, that's not a god, that's a demon. Can a god not be a destructive force? I don't know about y'all, but I've read the Old Testament. And God and destructive force, one and the same, my friends. One and the same.
There are rituals attached.
Yeah, they have the golden calf in there.
For
yeah.
real?
But just to go off, but it's important, their stated goal, and Yuval Harari uses Bible stories all the time. That's what's so creepy. He talks about like the flood. He talks about the Tower of Babel. Since Nimrod tried to create the city of Babel in Genesis 11, they've been trying to reconstitute a oneness of the government and a oneness of the world. They think artificial intelligence will allow it.
It's a one world government that they have always been after.
But that's what Genesis,
and they're going to do it through
that's why God scattered the people. Babel means God confuses. Babel, God confuses.
God confuses. Agreed. Hey, we got Guam Tech in the building. Welcome to the party. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope all Santa Claus hath brought thee something good this year. Well, we'll get into that. Welcome to the party. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. Let's party.
Because God does not want a one world government. He wants nations.
And now you add that to the fact that a lot of people think, especially politicians like Netanyahu, that believe that we're in the end of times. And when you see his conversations that he has with Elon Musk, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, a lot of things start to come together when it comes to the time that we are in right now that is going to be absolutely decisive for humanity. We could either be totally free or totally enslaved. That decision might not be ours.
I want to talk about one of the first iterations.
I'm so lost. I am so lost. I have no idea what they are talking about. What might not be our choice?
Now
let's just take because Mr. Christianity here is just going to be Christianity. Let's just go with Luke.
God does not want to.
Let's just go with Luke and see if we can understand what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah, he wants nations.
And now you add that to the fact that a lot of people think, especially politicians like Netanyahu, that believe that we're in the end of times.
Okay, so we add to all of the religious bullshit that one of the most religious regions in the world believes we're in the end times. Okay.
And when you see his conversations that he has with Elon Musk.
Okay, so Netanyahu talked with Elon Musk.
Especially when it comes to artificial intelligence.
About
a lot of
AI.
things start to come together when it comes to the time that we are in right now. That is.
A lot of things come together that we are in.
Intelligence. A lot of things start to come together when it comes to the time that we are in.
A lot of things start to come together when it comes to the time that we are in.
What?
This is what using religious language gets you. It was not one point through the first half of this. Look how far, you can see how far into this we are. This is the second stream that I'm covering this particular video. Not one time was I confused by anything. In the first hour, they start the second hour with this bullshit. And exactly, shout out to Soul to Soul. Luke out here sounding like Kamala Harris. What is going the fuck on? Religious language will be the death of conservatism, republicanism, and anything else that you can squeeze into anything that is not wokeness and liberalism. Quantics is more or less lost than the religion debate with Shapiro. What? I'm trying to think if I remember what. Probably. I'm trying to think of the exact thing that you're talking about, but probably. Richard said the way this country and generation is going, if something tragic doesn't happen, not saying I wanted to, God will owe the city of Sodom an apology. No, I know it's there. I mean, I remember it in general, but I say a lot of stuff and it all kind of mushes together. And sometimes it's on stream and sometimes it's not on stream. And so I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember. But I remember that. But, you know, I mean, we good. Just I remember from Bible studies, Moses said, I still don't get no fucking react. Come on, Virgil. It's Christmas. God damn, I'm not even asking for money. Shit. I remember from Bible studies, Moses said, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Sounds good to me. You know what else sounds good? A react.
Right now that is going to be absolutely decisive for humanity. We could either be totally free or totally enslaved.
How? What is the decision? that is so decisive for humanity that we can be completely free or totally enslaved. You are just talking shit. You don't believe this, Luke. What are you saying? You are saying these things because you are at a table with a bunch of Christians, and because you are a conservative, you have to pretend that you too are Catholic or conservative or excuse me, Christian. But you're not. And it's very obvious. You're just talking shit.
To be absolutely decisive for humanity. We could either be totally free or totally enslaved. That decision might not be ours.
I want to talk about one of the first iterations of artificial intelligence. A lot of people say this is not true AI. Fine, we don't got to nitpick on it. But Seamus brought it up. These AI girlfriends that have been popping up, all these different apps where they whisper sweet nothings into the ears of young men to confuse them, to pull them away from reality. The scary thing about it is, people, these young men, they're on their phones and they think they're just having a chat on their phone. You're not. Behind this AI is a singular machine, a singular entity.
Or a fat dude.
Whether you want to believe it's some kind of conscious being, demon, whatever, it is a single entity. And each of its fake girlfriends that is talking to these young men is like a tentacle coming out of it. So these young...
I'm just thinking of the guy who actually works at Snapchat AI. Or like, bro! What? I'm a person too. All right, I'm doing my best here. That's all I can think.
Men, they think they're being wooed by a siren towards the great seas to die, and it is a gigantic demonic beast luring them to them.
But it's so lonely. I mean, I believe in smell very strongly. If I can't smell you, you are not real. And so
that's not a bad. I mean, I wouldn't use that as the ultimate test, but. If I can't smell you're not real, that kind of checks out.
So I mean that. And I don't understand how people could fall for that. Like, in the end, it's some computer-generated image.
They don't care.
It's utterly fake.
They don't care. They know. Are you under the impression that there's grown men who are not aware that when they sign up for an AI bot, that it's not an AI bot? They know. They just don't care. Because the alternative is sitting with their own thoughts or having to actually do anything to improve themselves. That is the world we live in. Colette, so the WF wants to be their slaves for their utter control over the world. Of course, they plan to get rid of 7 billion of us too. Yeah, I mean, that is scary. Context, I gotta pass the sniff test for Luke. Apparently. Well, that was Tucker who said that, but apparently. All about instant gratification. Yep. No such thing as delayed gratification. There's no such thing as working towards an end. Virgil says, a professor of religion in Manchester, England. Don't forget, Virgil is from Manchester, England. Can't even get arrested in this godforsaken town. More chance of getting hit by lightning while being attacked by a great white shark.
What?
Thank you for that.
Like, how? It's like sadder than a sex doll.
Let me get needlessly scientific just for Ian, because he's not on the stage anymore. There's this really cool thing called a laser-induced plasma channel. Now, one day this military guy's like, hey, I would really love to strike a guy with lightning with a gun. How do I do that? Well, the problem is lightning travels in the path of least resistance. So they got an idea. They use an infrared laser. I'm probably getting this way wrong, but follow it. Bear with me anyway. You use an infrared laser to charge the air in a straight line, ionizing the particles, which creates an easier path for electricity. They could then point a cannon and fire a bolt of lightning, essentially. It's a waste of energy, so it didn't really work out. But the reason I bring this up is for fun, but mainly because young men are having a hard time meeting girls. I mean, especially with the Me Too stuff. And
not at America Fest, but yeah.
Not at America Fest. America Fest is great. And that's why people should come to things like this.
It's like that. It's like that. They got loose conservative women at AmFest. Let's go! I'm just kidding.
To meet people. Yes. But imagine,
I agree.
All of those challenges of teen angst, and it is not easy to live. I mean, this is just reality. You have to strive, you have to struggle, you have to fail, and pick yourself back up. But along comes the candy man who says, ignore all of that, and I can satisfy all your deepest emotions with this machine right here. And so, unfortunately,
that's liberalism.
Of young men, they might think to themselves, I will try and meet actual girls and get a real girlfriend, but, I'll just use the app for now. Then eventually they develop antisocial behaviors. They never meet people. They never develop those skills. then they're 20 years old and they have no idea how to even talk to someone. But more importantly,
here's the other thing too. At 20, talking about 20-year-olds, if you're 30, this may seem so foreign, so alien to you. If you're 15, this is just the way it is. Sit on that for just a second. Yeah, at 30 years old, you I fucking loser. Think about who you were at 15 years old. Go back 13. Maybe you were that dude. Go back to 12 years old. Go back to the first girl that you ever liked. That is who is talking to these AI bots. So while I still absolutely do not think the government should be involved in that shit, it is the most crucial thing that socially we create an environment where it is shameful to engage in that behavior. Yeah, so it's like I see it every day. That's what he's using this AI girlfriend shit. Yeah, I mean, shout out to the passport bros. Like they figured it out. They figured it out. I mean, I'd rather live here, but also, so I said not as strong in my 20-year-old, but still, neither of them know life without the internet. It's all the, how would they? How would they know? It's not their fault. How would they know? Shout out to Democrat Poop City. Merry Christmas to ya. So now make it illegal and show the devs in jail. Freedom. I'm about freedom. Liberty. Liberty. Maybe you want the government to come in and say, Democrat Poop City, what are the things that you don't like? We're going to crush everything that you don't like. But you know what? Then they can go to Republican Poop City and say, hey, all those things that Democrat Poop City said, how do you feel about them? And now Republican Poop City is like, you know what? Let's do the opposite. You know, everything that you love becomes illegal. No, thank you. Glumtez said, if only they could, sorry, I have had a little bit to drink. If only they could vary the AI to actually teach men how to talk to real women. Literally, you have to tell them, I am not real, but I can help you attract real women with our conversations. I wouldn't trust that unless I saw what it was. I wouldn't trust that unless I saw. I'm with you, but I would not trust that unless I saw exactly what it was and personally signed off on it, because it's just that seems like a slippery slope. I don't know how you could thread that line. If you could, perfect, but I don't know. So I said, no, thank God. The difference in generations already. Yeah. I mean, whacking it is not nearly as bad as needing an AI robot to whack it. Merry Christmas to you. Richard said, no, we're just giving them the same trials they gave us. Who's that? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. Democrat Poop City said, libertize the nutsack in front of the kids at drag shows. See, we don't have to go that far. We don't have to go that far. But adults should be able to be losers if they want to be losers. If you, Democrat Poop City, want to be a loser and get off with an AI bot, you should have the freedom to do that. Yeah, who's not getting due process? I'm a little lost. Yeah. Oh, life before I did not have life before TV. That I did not have. Life before the internet, life before smartphones, life before social media, yes, but I did not have life before TV, and I don't know. I love TV. All right, where were we here?
Never developed those skills. Then they're 20 years old and they have no idea how to even talk to someone. But more importantly, the great opportunities to meet someone when you're young in your neighborhood used to be church. Your families and communities would meet. Public schools, I'm not a big fan of, but also a way that people would meet. And the workplace, now we're working from home. Now young people are using these apps and they're not even communicating anymore. if we get to the, I mean, when we're talking about these AI girlfriends as this I just view this as a tremendous evil. Understand that dead internet theory, whether anyone wants to believe it's true or not, is coming true factually before our eyes, because we're looking at AI bots communicating with us. Of course, eventually, now Twitter is integrating Grok. At what point does Grok start actually posting things and communicating with people? And at what point does someone create a bot using a paid script from GPT or something to make Twitter accounts or X accounts to communicate with people?
They already have. Why would you think? Why would you think that that exists and you know about it and you can fathom that, but somebody hasn't done it?
And then you're there. You're in the fake world, and we may already be there.
I believe we are. I believe we are.
Does anyone still think it's important to go outside and be with animals?
Yes. Yeah. This is why we moved to West Virginia.
Yeah.
Because now I have a family of deer that live on my lawn.
It's so important.
And turkeys.
Yeah.
You'll learn more from them than you will from Grok. Trust me.
Chickens. We got a lot of chickens, and chickens are based AF. So we're very
they're great.
But what you were
Hold on,
describing.
whoa.
chicken.
This looks kind of empty, bro. How do you have Tucker Carlson and James O'Keefe and Tim Pool and Luke Rudkowski, and there's like 50 people there? Now, granted, I didn't know that America Fest was a thing until I saw these videos. Maybe it's a marketing issue. But this is the biggest alternative media news show with Tucker Carlson and James O'Keefe. Anybody else find that weird? No? All right. Virgil said, I copped a bird in a sleazy hotel room in Manchester, England. I got nothing but boy, she could run for an old bird. I woke up without my wallet and a fractured skull. Oh, Virgil, come on, man. So the soul said, not just animals but plants too. My greenhouse looking like some. What are we talking? What the fuck is going on? What is happening? Democrat Proof City said because TPUSC is a psyop and not conservative enough. It's slightly more edgy. It's a slightly more edgy DW. I don't even necessarily disagree with that, but I don't know how that makes it a psyop. That's just weird. That's just weird to me. I'm far from psyop, but hey.
And chickens are based AF, so we're
they're
very
great.
But what you were describing, Tim, what better way to depopulate a population than to do exactly that, what you're describing, and take Andrew Tate out of his business.
So James, walk us through, because this is some of the greatest work, and I just have to say this. James O'Keefe and Tucker Carlson have both had challenging 2023s, and I think I speak for all of us. We're so blessed and thankful that they're back and fighting stronger than ever. Right, Tim?
It's amazing to have you guys on stage together.
Right, Tim?
If you think about it, the regime did whatever they did.
Why do they keep showing the crowd?
I have strong thoughts on that, but they're both strong.
Like, come on. Why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep showing the crowd if it's empty?
Stronger than ever because they're both threats. James, we love you and we support you. Tell us about this. Is one of the most important stories you have published in quite some time.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank you, Tim, and nice to see you again, Tucker.
Great to see you, James.
I think that this story is remarkable because usually there's a couple people that maybe come to me. Now there's been 150 people within IBM that have come forward. 150. Wow. And I'm going to break something right on your show here. Well, I'll post it on X, so I guess I'll break it on X and also on your show. And this slide says, how does whiteness work?
Breaking news from a week ago.
This is an IBM internal document. I talked to you a little about it, Tucker, but it's the Red Hat, which is the subsidiary of IBM, and it says, quote, whiteness constructs the game, hides the rules, then rigs the game over and over again. It's this slide that they give out inside IBM. And so there's really kind of an explosion of whistleblowers coming forward. It's very encouraging. And I think that that could have a real effect in 2024. I think the whistleblower is going to be very important in 2024. People on the inside with access to what's happening.
Yeah,
so,
I'm fairly.
I mean, it's the level of importance of people who are willing to blow the whistle. It is just not. I mean, there should be more words. I should be able to quote somebody to talk about how important whistleblowers are. And we just, like, at a time when the institutions are just bullshitting from left to right, top to bottom, the people who are willing to point that out, I don't know if there are more important people in society at all.
Really optimistic.
Right.
I got to be honest. I mean, with what you're saying, especially, but we just have to we have to be vigilant.
Well, it's almost like the first person, you know, he has to take an extreme leap of faith, and then everyone else will follow. But this is the sort of whistleblowing in numbers, in big numbers. I've never seen that before, and it's very encouraging to me. But someone has to come forward first, and that person is still within IBM. IBM Deep Throat is still there. So I'm very encouraged by that, Charlie, because usually it was a couple people, but it's hundreds. And I think that that's going to be a taste of what's to come.
And the CEO has responded, right?
CEO was on an all-staff meeting.
A foreigner who became an American, Arvind Krishna.
I don't like the way he just said foreigner like that, but okay, we'll come back to that. But Guam Tech, oh my goodness, with the $20 super chat. Morty, come on up here and get your treat. Come here. Yeah, come on up here. Yeah, Guam Tech hooked you up, bro. Look at that. Merry Christmas to Morty and myself. Thank you so much, brother. Very, very, very much appreciated. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much, brother. Very, very much appreciated. All right, let's go back to see what he's saying about foreigners.
Was on an all-staff meeting.
A foreigner who became an American, Arvind Krishna.
Because he said if you hire white people, or there's too many Asians, will dock your bonus and terminate you. So then he gets on an all-staff call last week, and he says,
thank you again, Quantech. Very, very, very much appreciated. Merry Christmas to you.
There's this video that came out, of me, and I said these things, and he's talking to tens of thousands of people, and he says, don't give this any oxygen, don't give this any response. And that was recorded and leaked and published.
Yeah.
So the CEO is telling everyone inside the company, don't respond to this. So I don't know what they're going to do now. They can't fire 100 people.
This is building culture. And the message, James, you've spread for a long time of be brave has reached a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And if everyone holds that within their hearts that they will always be brave and stand up for what they believe in, we need not worry about this in 10 years. But that's
if. That's a big if. That's a big if. If we continue doing the work we are doing, if we stand up for what we believe in, if we say the things that may not be very popular, if. That's where you come in. I'm already here doing the thing. I can't make myself any more out there than I already am. You can. You can say the things that nobody wants you to say. You can support the people who are saying the things that you're afraid to say. All of those things matter. And if, it's just an if. You do it and it works. You don't and it won't. That's simple.
That's hoping.
In numbers.
Exactly. That's hoping. That's hoping.
Do it in numbers.
If anyone's watching, to connect all this together, we need more whistleblowers in these AI companies right now. We need whistleblowers right now in these AI companies to come forward with what's really going on, how advanced is this technology. We don't know enough. We had one, didn't you, Tucker? Didn't you have a Google whistleblower that said it already reached singularity?
Yeah. And
while that's not surprising, that's very scary.
It's been happening like so many trends in our society in slow motion, and you sort of see it and you register alarm and then like deep ominous dread, and then you sort of move on to the next unfolding crisis.
Shout out to Janine for the $5 cash app. Very, very, very much appreciated. Merry Christmas to you and a Merry Christmas to my boy Morty here. Thank you so much. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you.
And it doesn't feel like anyone can pause long enough to address any of them, and they're just sort of moving inexorably forward, almost autonomously. And if you put it all together, you're like, what are we watching here? We're watching like an actual pivot point in history. And I don't think I'm being I'm not an alarmist by temperament. I have a sunny disposition, I think, and but I don't see you can reach any other conclusion from that.
Well, it's really horrifying. There's this line in there that you mentioned about what whiteness does. No, they're not saying what white supremacy does or what white racism
Whiteness
does.
constructs the game, hides the rules, then rigs the game over and over again.
No, it's not racial.
Now, just think about this.
That sounded like bars. What did you just say?
It's really horrifying. There's this line in there that you mentioned about what whiteness does. No, they're not saying what white supremacy does or what white racism
Whiteness
does.
constructs the game,
Whiteness constructs the game,
hides the rules, then rigs the game over and over again.
No. Who thinks like this? Who thinks like this?
It's not racial.
Now, just think about this. It's a blatant racial attack. So they'll say things like this. They'll say whiteness is evil. They'll say we need to eliminate whiteness. And you have to pay attention to them when they accuse you of things. When our buddy Michael Knowles said we need to eliminate transgenderism, they said, oh, he's not attacking the idea of transgenderism. He's promoting genocide, which of course he was not. Okay, so if they think saying we need to eliminate transgenderism means you actually want genocide, what does it mean when they say they want to eliminate whiteness?
Well, they've
Ooh, shout out to M169. Welcome to the party. Yeah, woke lefties do in fact think like this, and it surprises me every single time. It is insane. But yeah, it's a good point that Seamus is making. If they're saying we need to eliminate whiteness, which is, to be fair, not something that I've heard too often, but I absolutely have heard it. But good question. If you think that eliminating transgenderism from society means to kill all of the transgender people, what exactly do you mean when you say eliminate whiteness? It's a good question. So if I may be so politically incorrect, people who think like that are retarded. Sorry, not sorry. Jason Black thinks like that.
They explicitly called for it. They've celebrated the fact. I mean, the president of the United States did that. I'm looking forward to the day when there are fewer whites, when they're in the minority.
It's sick.
Well, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
to call for any group to become a minority is such a sickening, unfathomable
well,
thing to do.
especially in a country where they told us for my entire lifetime that minorities are by definition mistreated and oppressed in this country. So by their definitions,
they want, remember, Ibram X. Kendi said it in plain English, in black and white. The only, the only solution to past discrimination is present and future discrimination. You were the bad guys, so now we need to be the bad guys. That is the mentality. You were the bad guys, so now we need to be the bad guys. No mention of good guys. No mention of moving forward. Who's the bad guy now?
being a minority in America is a threat to your life, and they're celebrating a group becoming a minority. It's like, what? We're all too embarrassed to say so, but that's like genocidal language.
They're not just calling for it, they're actually doing it, especially when you look at the numbers, when you look at the propaganda that's in every TV show, that's in every commercial, that's in every movie. You can't ignore it. It's either overt or subliminal. They've forgone telling a good story. They don't do that anymore. It's all just pure, ugly, nasty propaganda that is meant for you to be hated on.
Yeah, but what happens if you actually say that? Everything's racist now. Everything's racist. That's racist. It's just oppressed people taking. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Well, Texas, when you dig down, the decolonized and anti-white narratives always come down to violence. They aren't even trying to hide it anymore. Yeah, I mean, they've been given all of all of the rope to hang themselves on the idea that we are going to be the bad guys now. You are the bad guys, and now we're going to be the bad guys. Oh, okay. I mean, maybe the people who, like, maybe I'm 30. I'm 34, but fuck you. I haven't done shit. But they can't think like that. They fries their brain. Exactly. 2 wrongs always make a right. You know your mama told you. You know your mama told you 2 wrongs always make a right.
The way that you were born, which is crazy.
Yeah, there are two big ways to reduce a population from a majority to a minority. It's contraception, abortion. I encourage people to, find ways for them to not have children, and
or murder.
Also to bring in many other people from outside the country.
You are in the state where the great replacement is happening every day. There's 15,000 people that they're bringing into Arizona to replace you. They want Arizona to be less white.
Yep.
And as it's less white, they get more power.
Now, see, and I think that just by framing it as a racial thing, Charlie is giving air to the left-wing version narrative, whatever, of this. It's not about white people. It's about Americans. And so if you're going to say, oh, it's less white, I don't fucking care if it's less white. Hey, guy, I'm not white. I'm not looking for a white country. I'm looking for a country with liberty. So blame all the wokies, all the fuck you want. But when you say that, oh, it's less white and that's bad, you are feeding them the bullshit they will vomit onto your face. Why? Why say less white when you can say less American? Why say God when you can say connection or whatever? The language that you use matters. Words have meanings. And when you talk about, oh, it's less white, then you can't get up your fucking panties up in a bunch when people talk about, oh, you're being racist. Exactly. You are feeding the trolls when you talk about race. It's not about race unless you do think it's about race. And despite the fact that I agree with all of your policy positions, I don't belong in your country, Charlie Kirk. Then you are shooting yourself in the dick when you say shit like this. I am not white. I will never be white. I don't want to be white. I'm glad I'm not white. But you're goddamn right I'm an American. Fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Language matters. Language matters. The words you use have an effect. Because I remember a time when we just wanted to get rid of the bad guys instead of choosing which bad guys were more worth being associated with.
Bingo.
What happened to that? I don't have an answer. I wish I did. Yeah, right. If I had a nickel for all the S going around, I'd be a gazillionaire. Exactly. All of that is a big if. It all depends on us. It's fucking Christmas Day, and I'm here. So I'm doing my part. It's up to all of y'all. Shout out to Ian Undercover. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya, brother. Richard said they're not replacing white people. They're replacing the voter bloc. Exactly. They're replacing black people in Chicago. The new exactly. It has nothing to do with race, and you are a fucking loser, Charlie Kirk, for saying this. You are a fucking loser, and this is why the Republican Party is full of square-ass loser, bitch, beta faggots. That's you, Charlie Kirk.
Replace you. They want Arizona to be less white.
Yep.
And as it's less white.
And there's Tim. Yep. I'm Asian, but yep. Let's ride for the white people because white people give me money, so we gotta ride for the white people. I'm sorry. I apologize as a brown man in your country for thinking that I was equal to you. How dare I? It doesn't matter that I think the government should be run exactly the same way you do. Doesn't matter that I want to vote exactly the same way you do. The skin's too dark. It's too dark. Look at the darkness. It's dark all over. It's dark here too. It's dark on my asshole. Stop talking about race, you lame fucking bitches. It's lame. It's not even like bad, like, that's not the issue. It's fucking lame. It's fucking gay. It's so stupid. You're just a little, it's so pathetic. And I will give it twice as hard to conservatives talking about race than to liberals. Because they've been scrambled. They've been scrambled thinking about everything is about race. Your whole fucking thing is that race doesn't matter. Yeah, well, they want Arizona to be less white. What? Who told you that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Exactly, so. This is why the GOP is always snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. But no, keep fucking with them. They got it. Yeah, no. No. Liberals will definitely not take charge. Well, you got this bullshit. No, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm not here to help you. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't want a nation where we can all come together and live peacefully. I don't care about that. It's Charlie Kirk. It's Turning Point USA that really cares. I mean, come on. Registered agents are notorious for not being blessed in the underpants department. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If I believed in a God, I would thank that God that height and dick size are not associated. Ayush said, did we figure out why there's a lot less support for Vivek than he deserves? Probably because he's less white. If I'm hearing properly what I'm watching, probably because he's less white. And being less white, that's bad. That's bad. If you're not completely white, according to Charlie Kirk, of course, that's bad. Less white equals bad. Serve it up on a silver fucking platter, why don't you? You sat on a stage and you played the race card for no reason. For no, like, all right, if there was a liberal there and like you're, they debated you into a corner somehow and you needed to pull the race card and like they always pull the race card, it's like, all right, whatever. Well, Arizona, they wanted to be less white. What? I don't think Arizona is even very white to begin with. Isn't Arizona the state where at like every fucking corner they got a turquoise store or some shit because of Native Americans and shit? Sounds like you're talking out your ass. And I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed because the first half of this, I was so on board with everything that was being said. And now we're talking about, well, these people want less of this color. Okay. Now I see you for who you are. Now I see you for who you are. And don't think, Tim, do not think that I did not hear that.
That they're bringing into Arizona to replace you. They want Arizona to be less white.
Yep.
And as
Nope.
it's less white, they get more power.
Now, here's the funny thing is Vivek Ramaswamy says this, and the media immediately comes out and says, oh, conspiracy theories. And then what happens? Anybody who's paying attention sees the video from Joe Biden saying, we want it to happen. There's a video, I believe it was from Van Jones, saying effectively what we are asking is for white people to accept becoming a minority.
And the Castro brothers, which I think is the best example, they're on like Face the Nation in this long interview, and they're like, you will be calling the electoral votes for Texas because Texas is becoming more Hispanic. And the interviewer says, well, what do you mean? And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously mass migration is a benefit to the Democrat Party. And Michael Anton had the most powerful piece where the way that Democrats respond to this is that it's not happening and it's good that it is.
The parallax, what is it called? The celebration parallax?
Yeah, you're allowed to celebrate it, but you can't be critical of it.
Yeah, exactly. If you write an article, you can get published in Vox.com saying it's so good that whites are no longer the majority. But if you write the same article that says maybe it's not a great thing that whites are the majority, they call you a white supremacist.
They're no longer.
No, none of that. They say it's not happening. They're saying it like, wait. So is it happening or is it not happening?
So can you understand? Can you understand between the religious thing and the color thing? Just those two things. Why it is very difficult for me. I don't care about anybody else. I'm just talking about my own personal experience. Can you at least understand why it is difficult to understand my place in the political landscape? Can I just get that acknowledgement? Because that was bullshit.
But why are people putting up with it? I mean, one of the reasons this doesn't happen in any other group is people are like, no, you can't do that. You teach my kids that they're evil because of their skin color, I'm going to flip out in the print. I'm going to punch you out. Like,
but you mentioned,
but he just did that. Like that exact thing that you just said is bad. Like that's what you're co-signing right now, Tucker. Shout out to Virginia S in the building. Welcome to the party. So I think that Charlie is just stating that what the left had said about the replacement theory many times. Charlie is not a racist. The left calls for a white genocide pretty much on the daily basis. Completely agreed. I know Charlie's not a racist. I'm wondering why he's using racist language when he's not a racist. When he's talking about less white people or more white people. Why is that part of the conversation? That should be that shouldn't be what we're talking. That should be what they're talking about. And it should be so disgusting that they're talking about that we're talking about how disgusting it is that they're talking about that. Why are we talking about that? It's frustrating. But welcome to the party, Virginia. So the soul said, I'm white, and most of the time, I don't feel connected to to a political home, as it were. I said, how are they talking like Vivek is co-signing their arguments? His statement was, there is a great replacement. He never specified any race. Because it's not about race. It's about citizenship. It's about what country do you belong to, regardless of your color, creed, race, religion. Democrat Poop City said white people are being attacked and discriminated against in all aspects. Every company here has a mandatory placeholders for people not white. In Germany, it is a real thing. Again, I don't disagree with you. But do you think that me personally, I am on your side? Do you think that this is something that appeals to me? Do you think that white people in America are not already aware of this? Why are you using the language that gives your enemies power? That is the issue. I know he's not a racist. I wouldn't cover him and follow him if I thought he was a racist. But when you talk like a racist, then you can't get mad when other people call you a racist. I'm smart enough to understand the difference. You're smart enough to understand the difference. They're not smart enough to know the difference, but that's not their fault. They're fucking stupid. It's Charlie's responsibility as the intelligent one in the room to not use the words that the dummy's going to go, which he just did. Colette said, I'm parts French, English, German, and Cherokee, but I've always just said I'm 100% American. Fuck yeah. Dilly to that. Put a mug in the air if you are American. That's what the fuck I care about. Shout out to Moo. Welcome to the party. Exactly what I'm talking about. This man is liberal as shit. But he's one of my own. He comes here in good faith. He comes here to spread ideas, to spread knowledge. That's what we're about. Not dividing each other based on race. Fucking bullshit. I can't believe we... all right, let me just take a breath and let's get back into it.
That they're evil because of their skin color, I'm going to flip out in the print. I'm going to punch you out. Like
you mentioned, but
hold on, no other group would put up with that.
Mary.
Tucker, you are correct. We had a father in Loudoun County, Virginia, which is it's literally about 30 seconds away from where we're currently at, who showed up to challenge the system, and they arrested him. I don't think the question is why are people putting up with it? It's right now, I think you'll find that this faction of people, whatever you want to call it, the right, I guess the media would refer to it as, are reasonable, calm, and trying to work within their means.
Except when you talk about race like that. And also the religion thing. But other than that, yeah.
To do things procedurally and correctly.
I also think a lot of people, especially white Christians, they're resisting identity politics. They don't want to go to that next step, but that's where it's heading. I mean, it's going there quickly. I mean, white identitarianism is going to happen, and they want it to happen.
They're creating it, and I speak for myself as someone who's 54 and grew up in a totally different country. I don't want to identify as white. I don't even like thinking about that stuff. I like thinking about how people really are. I don't like thinking of them as members of groups.
Yep.
Remember the 90s.
And they're pushing it. They're like, everyone has an identity. Everyone's a member of an identity group except the majority who are despised, and we're trying to make them into the minority, but you're not allowed to organize as a specific as your identity. And it's like they're not only encouraging it, they're guaranteeing its emergence.
And financing it in...
How many of you have gotten a guitar, tried to learn, gotten frustrated, thrown it in the closet?
In Ukraine with our tax dollars, essentially.
Its emergence.
And financing it in Ukraine with our tax dollars, essentially giving it to a lot of right-wing organizations. But I want to go to James here because these are big implications. We're talking.
Yeah, but I'm 30. I just turned 34, and I grew up in the 90s.
Talking about a racist artificial intelligence that is going to have godlike power, that's going to be woke, that's going to push their own views of equity. They could do that in so many different manipulative ways. What was some of the biggest things that you saw in this latest drop, and what are the implications here?
Well, I think this 10 Commandments, I think Charlie said it.
Can you go over some of them?
Yeah, I will. I'll pull them up right now. This is...
Thou shalt not be white. Richard said, I was not interested in politics until my son was born, and CRT scared the hell out of me. I think you are among a very large portion of the population who, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but felt like people were handling shit. And then you said this, and you're like, whoa, nobody stopped this? And then you realize that's going on everywhere. There's nobody in charge. Everybody is just, I think this is supposed to go here, right? All right. I'm not even talking about the government, like just the entire country. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, if you are under 25 years old and you are waiting to get to the age when you know what's good, it doesn't happen. None of us know what the fuck is good. James O'Keefe has no idea what the fuck is good. We're all just trying to figure it out. We're just say when the late Michael Jackson died, I bought his pet chimp Bubbles. He identified as white. Fair enough. Rich said, well, as I mentioned, my son is biracial. So what does that say about me, his father, who is white? You're a devil. You're awful. You're mean. You're racist. You're an oppressor. Well, that's what they want you to think. But you can buy into that, or you can know. I don't know you, but you can know whether or not you're a good man. You can know whether or not you want to you live by values that you want to spread on to your son, regardless of the race. You can decide that. Other people will tell you that you can't, but you know that you can. And some of those decisions other people may not like. But I think, just personally, I don't have kids, but I think personally, for you, what you do for your kid is a little bit more important than what people think about you for doing what you need to do for your kid. And I don't know if you need to hear that, but unfortunately, too many white parents do definitely need to hear that. Context of COVID finally gave a glimpse into the madness that most people didn't understand up to that point. Even my parents have finally started to question the agenda. Yes, that's what we need. And I mean, if there was the only silver lining of COVID was that parents were like, oh shit, they're doing this. Democrat Poop City said the problem is a lot of non-whites that were picking up the CRT mentality and bought into it are now in opposition to white people. And the question is, how do white people deal with that? Indeed, that is the question. Indeed, that is the question, but I don't know because I'm not white. It sucks to suck. No, but it is a serious question. I don't know. Because when you take the axiom that white equals bad, it's like that scene. Let's see if I can. I don't even care if this is gonna. Let's see. Actually, no. I'm gonna do it here. And it might get copyright claimed. So if you care about how awesome this reference is, okay. So let's see. Fuck. Okay. Hold on. I think I've got it. And it's probably going to get claimed, but just in case it doesn't, this is what we're talking about with Democrat Poop City. Talking about the problem is a lot of non-whites picking up CRT type mentality and bought into it and now are in opposition to white people. And the question is, how do white people deal with that? And this is my answer as to, I don't know, bro. That's a good ass question. That is a good ass question. Fair use.
Who are you?
Shout out to Shutter Island.
I'm a cop.
Are you a cop? I'm a cop. Are you a cop? I'm trying to just break it up.
You're the marshal.
Put a 1 in the chat if you have not seen Shutter Island, because context is a little bit relevant, but you can pick it up.
That's right. Why?
Okay, so real quick. So what happened was, hey, shout out to G Motion EDC. Welcome to the part. Damn, y'all need to see this shit. This is a great movie, a fantastic movie. So anyway, the context of the scene is that Leo's character is on this island as a detective, and there's some shit going awry, and this lady is missing. And he's there looking for this lady. And apparently she's supposed to be like a crazy lady. So I think that's all I need to tell you.
Why?
Let's go back.
Hand from behind your back, please. Why?
So again, we have detective, crazy lady. That's why I was asking, like, you know. So you get the point here. That this the idea is that once people tell others that you are crazy, anything that you do to protest that notion only further serves to convince those people that you are crazy. And so then we come back to Democrat Poop City's question. Is that a lot of non-whites picked up on the CRT mentality and bought into it, and now are in opposition to white people. They believe white people are evil, just like with that girl, with that lady. People believe she was crazy, even though she's not. Anything that she does further goes to make people think that she's crazy. And so anything that you do as a white person to fight the idea you are racist further makes the lefty think you are even, you're not even willing to confront your own racism. That is the level. That is the level of insidious brainwashing that we are talking about. And that's why I come back to this conspiracy theory line that if you think that sounds conspiratorial, you're probably voting for Biden. If that sounds like, yeah, bro, you're probably voting for Trump. It's probably that simple. I think it is that simple. Thank you, sir. All right, where were we?
It's 10 Commandments. I think Charlie said it.
Can you go over some of them?
Yeah, I will. I'll pull them up right now. This is something called Red Hat, which is a subsidiary.
And by the way, just so we're clear, they call it the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
They're directly trying to appropriate the Decalogue, which is the basis of Western civilization.
10 Commandments.
That's what racists say. All the racists say I'm not racist. All the racists say I have black friends.
This is an IBM internal document leaked to OMG from multiple sources after the first person came forward.
Amazing stuff, James.
I'm going to read this.
Amazing.
Openly acknowledges privilege and systemic racism exists. Never question the reality of our black friends. Rejects the idea that race is political. Accepts that white people are responsible for dismantling racism. Understands only white people can be racist. Knows the black community owes us nothing. Requires acknowledgement, repair of inevitable mistakes. Is never rooted in white saviorism. Sees the black community as a group of individuals, does not seek recognition or praise for a job well done.
Sees the black community as a group of individuals?
Well, this is the first thing that stood out to me.
So, for example,
community, yeah. Also, don't be a white savior, and we're saving.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to say that blacks are 13% of the population, yet they
No, but like the
55% of the
internal
murders.
logical
You can't say-
incoherence of that is so insane. You're dealing with dumb people. That's one of the things we never say.
That's
like
true.
whoever wrote that's like a moron.
But I think I'm confused for the same reason that Tucker is. But like, is he just like, wait, we have to tell people to treat black people at the as equal? Is that because that's what I'm short circuiting. I'm short circuiting. All colors have the same ability to be good. You're a racist, Colette, if you say that. You can't say that. That's racist. That's racist. White people are better because they're privileged and black people are worse. Wait. It do be like that. So the soul said I just love Tucker's laugh. It always catches me off guard and cracks me up. Yep.
Well, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that because this is something I've been thinking about. There are really complex, difficult decisions that the wisest, most virtuous, most healthy, well-rounded person you've ever met in your entire life, that anyone you know has ever met in their entire life, would not be qualified to make, and they're being made by stupid people.
I agree.
They're being made by idiots.
What was I just saying before, guys? You have to remember, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Everybody is just doing the bare minimum to make sure they scrape by. That is the world we live in. There are no experts. There are just people who read some more stuff than you. And again, you either agree with that or you're voting for Biden.
They're aggressive.
And I would like to point this out. There is only actually one person of color on the stage, and it is, in fact, Luke Rudkowski.
Damn right.
Now, you may be asking yourself, how is a blonde, white, blue-eyed dude a person of
No, Tim, we're not, because you make the same joke over and 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 over again.
color? Well, according to the Coalitions for Communities of Color, Slavic individuals, people from Poland, for instance, are people of color. So here is a guy. This makes no sense.
I have a card. I use it all the time.
This is what really doesn't make sense to me. I was talking earlier about how tyranny is fundamentally anti-intimacy, and you read something on that list which perfectly exemplifies that. We never question the lived realities of our black friends. If you never question someone's reality, they are not your friend. That's not what friendship means. Friendship means you keep each other in check. When somebody says something that you don't think is true and you genuinely care about them, you say, that actually doesn't map onto anything that I've seen in the world. Let's hash this out. Let's see what the truth is. Let's find it together because that's what friends do.
No, Oh, that's your privilege talking, okay? Black people, says the liberal, can't deal with being challenged, okay? Says the liberal, because they're so oppressed that if you question their worldview, they can't handle. Only white people can handle it. Oh, wait, that sounds racist too. It's almost like every fucking thing that liberals believe is racist. I'm saying Tim is pretty good at beating an live horse. Indeed. While sitting on a fence at the same time. Wait, who said Civil War? Who cares? Dilly dilly. I'm shit-faced right now.
This is a really great point. Let me ask you, if let's say your buddy's driving a car and you're in the passenger seat and they're about to drive off a cliff. If you decide to hop out of the car and say nothing because you don't want to question their realities, are you being a good friend? Or are you a good friend if you grab the wheel, slam the brakes on and say, dude, you almost drove off a cliff?
Well, it's infantilizing for sure, but you're treating them like children, but you're also, anyone you don't question is by definition like the Godhead.
Yep.
Because like, what, there's only...
What? The Godhead? What, like the head of... There's just not what? Godhead, Middle English, godhood, an unrelated term word may refer to. Okay, so let's see, divinity. No, I don't want divinity. The thing. What? Christians assemble. What the fuck does this mean?
Is by definition like the Godhead.
Yep.
What does that mean? Somebody help me out. Democrat Poop City. Did you hear they're making the immigrants the police force now? What? No. What? There's no point, guys. We lost. It's been nice. We tried, but America's done.
Because like what, there's only one entity who's beyond question, and that's God himself. So there is this...
Prove it.
Religious quality to it, washing the feet, worshiping. And whenever you do that to other people, they should be very nervous. And I have at least one black friend who was like the BLM stuff in the aftermath, all these Christian churches worshiping black people. Was like, I don't like that at all. That freaks me right out.
Okay, Godhead equals the person in charge who can't be questioned. Oh, so you mean that which should not exist? Oops. So the soul said, I thought Godhead meant someone above you in status. Christians. Agreeing on terms since the beginning of time.
It was a wild experience for me when I first went to Occupy Wall Street. So we're talking 12 years ago now. And, I grew up in Chicago. Everybody knows it's an urban liberal story and all that stuff.
It's Jesus wept. That you're misquoting the Bible, bro.
And we hated this idea of judging someone based on the color of their skin instead of the content of their character.
Amen.
I go to New York City at the start of Occupy Wall Street. Luke was there too, so Luke definitely knows this. They started off with something they called the General Assembly, where everybody would sit down and they would all, raise their hands to speak, and then they would do twinkle fingers, they called it, if you liked, because clapping was offensive to people who couldn't hear or whatever. They had something called progressive stack. That meant if you raised your hand to speak, but you're a white man, bottom of the list, because white men are privileged. So they would actually look at people and say, can I get anybody who's not a white man? You can't speak. And if you look like one, you have to shout out something about why you were actually a minority. I knew there was one instance where a guy raised his hand and they go, anybody who's not a white man? And he goes, I'm gay. And they go, okay, you can talk now.
Who thinks this is a good way to move society forward? There's an entire half of the population who's down with this. Tim, I grew up in Chicago. Ben, my wife is a doctor. Yup.
That qualifies. One of the most shocking things I ended up seeing, which was a real wake-up call for me, was when they created something called the Spokes Council. This is where they decided the General Assembly is inefficient. Let's have a better, more efficient model of decision-making by breaking everyone up into different groups based on the job you do. If you work on the website, you're part of a website group. If you work on cleaning, sanitation, you're sanitation group. And of course, let's have a group for only black people, a group for only Asian people, a group for only Mexican people, a group for only women. And they actually decided to have political voting power on resources based on your race or sex. And then there was a moment, one day I'm walking on the side of Zuccotti Park and there was a black man sitting up on this planter and he said, these people are nuts. What do you think the press is going to say when they find out they're segregating everybody based on race to make their decisions?
But they just destroyed their own movement.
I mean, come on. It couldn't be that crazy, right? Like, that would be, like, if people were going to continue with that thought, like, it would very clearly die very quickly, right?
Defeat capitalism, if we want to defeat capitalism, we are going to need a party that will organize working people to fight for the
A socialism convention this weekend didn't go exact capitalism.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload.
Put a 1 in the chat if you have not seen this.
There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus.
Name, chapter, pronoun.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shout out to Danta Comedy. Said, we are lost society. Indeed, we are.
Okay. Wow. You know what that guy needs? He needs a double shot of redneck Riviera whiskey on the rocks.
You always turn it into a
down.
plug. By the way,
telling you.
I disagree with how you started this. That went exactly as planned. You know, you got that in your point. You gotta work.
Where's the come on, we know this is a full one.
Party convention.
Oh, I have.
Oh my God, is this the actual real thing?
We're in a period of reforming and growing out.
Okay, here's what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? This is the actual thing. I just want to see. I just want to see how far they get before somebody has a point of privilege. That's all. I just want to do that. We'll do it at 2x. I just want to see. The over-under is 3 minutes. So if you think it's going to take more than 3 minutes. No, okay. So let's say if you think it's going to take less than 3 minutes, put a 1 in the chat. If it's going to take less than 3 minutes for somebody in that crowd to say point of privilege, put a 1 in the chat. If you think these socialists can go 3 full minutes, put a 2. If you think they cannot make it to 3 minutes, put a 1, like M169. And if you think they can make it 3 minutes, that's all we're going to do. 3 minutes. Then put a 2. We got a bunch of 1s. All right, let's see.
Just as we grow solidarity among individuals, so do we across the arbitrary, violent borders that seek to divide us. Up next is Ethan Earle of PSA's International Committee to introduce a series of comrades who are struggling alongside us under and against capitalist empire.
Oh, okay. So we got some movement. All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Ethan Earle, DSA at large, he, him. Been in DSA since 2015 and been co-chair of our international committee since late.
I'm fake as fuck.
2018. We're in a period of reforming and growing out the international committee to sort of match the new organization that we are today, particularly post 2016. So if anybody wants to talk to me about that process, here I am. I'll be here all week.
Even the sound in the voice. Where anyone wants to talk to me about that process, I'll be here all weekend.
And we'll be having also at 8:30 an open meet and greet for
anybody
who'd like to learn more. We're also really, really happy to be here with I believe 14 or so comrades from all over the world.
Comrades, 14 comrades, bro.
Struggle under really some of the most difficult conditions imaginable.
The most difficult conditions imaginable. What he means is that they had to fly coach.
And it's been a real, I think, pleasure and privilege to have them. For me, anyway, in this moment where DSA is growing so fast.
All right, we're halfway there, guys. We're halfway there.
So quickly and seems so close. It's fantastic to have folks from other parts of the world who can share with us their perspective, who can help to give us perspective about the challenges we face, about what holds us and brings us together as socialist comrades, and what really, really matters.
Oh, 2 minutes. We got 1 minute left.
7 comrades who are going to come up on stage and in the spirit of solidarity, share with us solidarity greetings from different parts of the world, say just a minute or two about the struggles that they're facing, what they're going through, and how we also can provide solidarity to them in their work and in their struggles. So all of that said, I'm going to get right into it with our first speaker, Rasha Mubarak from the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. Give it up for Rasha.
Oh, okay. So let's see, where are we? We are at 2:36. So I will give this person a full 3 minutes to see if we can get the actual speaker can get 3 minutes into the speech without somebody saying point of privilege. I have faith, guys. I have faith in our fellow comrades. Because despite how fucking stupid they are fellow Americans. So I am going to go with the over. I think we're going to start. We'll start at the moment that he starts speaking, and we'll go 3 minutes from there. Or she.
Hello.
Okay, 242. So we've got to make it to 542 with no points of privilege. It's a perfect answer to someone calling us names. What you think of me is none of my business. Hell yeah. I don't know. People clap. Yeah, well, exactly. Someone's going to point of privilege. Just make sure you do that. That would be one of the things. Yes, sorry, apologies. All right, so 242. We are making it to. Can we make? I think we are going to make it. I think we are going to make it to 542 with no points of privilege. Let's see.
Oh, assalamu alaikum. My name is Rash.
Okay, this is from 4 years ago. Didn't that all the fucking yay Hamas fucking shit makes a lot more sense now? But anyway, moving on.
Mubarak, and I come from Orlando, Florida. I am a Muslim daughter of Palestinian immigrants. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, but I don't claim my New York card. I say I'm a happy Floridian unless you get my Brooklyn blood pumping, which is quite often post 2016. I'm representing the U.S. campaign for the Palestinian human rights. And for me to know that we are at a point where 2 Palestinian women are going to be speaking on the same stage, and there's no tokenization, appropriation, that this is about real solidarity, and to know that someone like Linda goes beyond work for Palestine for Muslims, but she represents solidarity. Y'all, we are living in dark times.
They're going to make it. I think they're going to make it, guys.
We'll define who we are as residents in this country, as citizens in this world, as humans on this earth. At the U.S. campaign for Palestinian human rights,
queen.
we understand that only when we uplift and center
only when
the struggle for Palestinian rights, the struggle for indigenous, Black, and brown communities, and other marginalized groups impacted by U.S. policies.
That's the craziest thing. I'm here to support Palestine and also Americans that are marginalized and people who are poor and also those who are How can you want all of the things? You can't want all of the things. Pick a thing. What is your thing? What is solidarity? Virtue signaling, as far as I understand it. But all right, let's see. We are at 429. We've got less than a minute left.
Both within and outside U.S. borders, we all will rise. We all
Point of
will be
privilege.
free of persecution.
Point of
we all
privilege.
finally breathe liberation. There is a global divide between those who believe in freedom and equality for all and those who justify racial and religious supremacy.
I don't think we're gonna.
While
I don't
every
think you're
struggle
gonna
for
make
freedom
it.
From Palestine to the U.S. is unique. It is our values that bring us together. That is solidarity. Right-wing, repressive, anti-democratic governments are rising around the globe. From the Trump administrations in the United States to the governments of President in Brazil.
Let's go! The socialists made it 3 minutes with no point of privilege. Guys, America is safe. America is safe. All these worries, all this doomerism. The socialists of America made it a full 3 minutes into their meeting and 3 minutes into their first speaker without a point of privilege. America's saved. Indeed they do. Indeed they do.
Find out they're segregating everybody based on race to make their decisions.
But they just destroyed their own movement. I mean, I'll be honest, I was annoyed by Occupy Wall Street, but I was kind of sympathetic to the core idea that you have this massive series of financial crimes in 08 and not one person is punished. And that actually the real scam is economic. They're looting the country. And someone needs to call out the banks on this and finance world in general. Occupy Wall Street was totally eclipsed by identity politics, which I believe was, the antidote. Like the banks got together and the people who benefit from the banks are like, oh, let's just pit them together based on race. Like this is a widely held theory. But for the occupied Wall Street people themselves to be embracing identity politics undercuts their whole argument.
It was subversion.
It was subversion.
I met Luke there, and you ask yourself, everybody here knows Luke. How does someone like Luke and I come together? And it's because originally it was exactly as you described.
Yeah, it was people from the left. It was people from the right. There was daily marches against the U.S. Federal Reserve. There was a lot of libertarians. There's a lot of people who were representing the larger ideas of the Tea Party. A lot of Ron Paul.
Yes.
And then
I wish that I was aware of Occupy Wall Street, the Tea Party, all that stuff. I just did not pay attention to any of that stuff because I think those were the last. It seems like those were the last two movements, organic grassroots movements that were ever going to exist. I mean, outside of individual, like Timcast has his own grassroots movement. Hopefully, the Indian Jesus is going to have his own grassroots movement. But I don't see how we could have another Occupy Wall Street. The identity politics has so deeply poisoned everything. It just seems like that's a bygone era. I don't see it come back.
And then this coalition of individuals from the left and right scared the crap out of the
Yes, exactly.
But then they sent in crazy people. That's how I got to know Tim, because me and Tim were at these spokes council. No, we were at these spokes council meetings, and we were like, these people have lost their freaking minds. They're freaking insane. They weren't here on day one. They came in here and they're literally saying, black people got to stay here. White people have to stay here. We're like, this is retarded. This is stupid. This makes no sense at all unless you're trying to subvert and destroy it from the inside. And I think that's exactly what happened. And then the corporate media said, we got to obsess about race because this is how you destroy populist movements. And this is why we keep talking about race over and over again, when it's the simplest, stupidest thing that should have, of course, not be a major issue. We should be talking about the larger, better things and the more amazing things in life, not just the superficial bullshit that doesn't matter.
I told Steve Bannon I wish he came to Occupy Wall Street and helped, because that first week was so different from what it turned into. There were, I remember meeting a couple, and they were in their 60s with an American flag, and they were upset about the bank ballots and subversion. And I think what happens is it's very easy for liberals to infiltrate
because other people have to go to work. Socialist comrade equals communist.
City like New York, and it's very difficult for conservatives to stand their ground in such a place.
And it's not a theory, Tucker. I mean, you could see that the people that run Wall Street, they love the woke stuff, like Larry Fink, because then we never talk about income inequality or wealth inequality. The woke smokescreen is a protection racket for them,
and they're paying half the taxes.
Yes, I mean,
like why is it twice as virtuous to invest as it is to go to work every day? We tax the things we want to discourage, and we don't tax the things we want to encourage. That's why
the party of the elites. The party of the elites.
Are so expensive. So if you're taxing investing at half the rate as you are working, what you're telling me is it's twice as virtuous to invest. But is it? I don't know that it is. I kind of admire people who go to work every day. Like, what is this?
And it's not even.
Hey, shout out to Kelly Green. Welcome to the party. Merry Christmas, brother. Good to see ya.
Typical investing, right? Let's be honest. This is mass. This is using other people's money. OPM. Like by the way, they're using labor's money, Tucker, as you know. They're using teacher and firefighter and police officer money and getting 3% management fees and 30% of the upside. By the way, they don't pay any tax on any of the earnings. They just say, we can't get rid of the carried interest loophole. And they have this whole insane tax scheme designed. And I wonder, what wealth are they actually creating? Or are they just moving trillions of dollars of money through cheap instruments and taking 3%, 4% off the top? But the woke, this is what's important. We have to realize it. Occupy Wall Street was so scary to them because it was diverse, because it was bipartisan, is that they Tim, do you actually think that Goldman Sachs said, go send in the identity politics people?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would be very surprised if he said no.
Believe it. Like, do you think that there was a meeting at Goldman Sachs where they said, go bring in the NYU trans race people to go distract them from talking about bank bailouts?
Not Goldman Sachs.
Whatever.
Maybe not. I don't know. I'm losing it. I can't do this much longer. I didn't hear who he said, but there was a they that sent this bullshit into muddy this movement.
But powerful political interests, this is a fact. There were people who were on salary at large progressive nonprofits who were at Occupy Wall Street, on paper, getting money from a nonprofit and paychecks. And the funny thing is, when this was accurately reported, and sometimes inaccurately reported, they'd say the people down there are getting paid by insert nonprofit who receives money from, say, George Soros. All the activists would go, I didn't get my Soros check. And I'm like, dude, John over there works for this nonprofit that is literally a progressive voter registration nonprofit. And he's organizing the assemblies right now. Stupid. Yes, that is literally happening. And so perhaps it was as simple as, hey guys, here's an opportunity. We better harness it. And it bums me out to think the reality of Occupy Wall Street was progressives being smarter and faster than the populist right.
And you look,
and that is something that we all, whether you were a part of Occupy Wall Street, whether you were politically engaged at that time or not, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact is, the liberals won the early noughties. The liberals won the early noughties. So as we move on, they are the leaders. They are the winners. And so as much as I understand as a UFC fan that once the championship bout begins, then there is no champion. And the rules of the match exist, and whoever wins becomes the champion. But there will still be people who will say that the challenger won by points and is now the champ. Oh, he's not a real champion. In order to beat the champ, or excuse me, in order to be the champ, you have to beat the champ. If you beat him on points, it doesn't matter. That's not how the UFC works. However, that is how the world works. You got to beat the champ to be the champ. You got to beat the liberals to be on top of the liberals.
look at the stated positions of like the Open Society Foundation and George Soros. It conveniently ignores wealth inequality, income inequality, home ownership. It's like open borders and racial transformation and trans stuff. It's like, wait, hold on a second, George Soros. Are you afraid that there might be a real movement to go take and tax your $20 billion foundation that doesn't pay any taxes and is being used to, you know, subvert and infiltrate the country? But I think what has happened is, especially post-Floyd, is that every major company is fine doing a $50 million check to some CRT, DEI company, as long as we don't talk about the fact that young people can't buy homes. Larry Fink is terrified that this audience, or just Republicans, Democrats, young people all across the country will unite and lock arms and say, why is it that we can't buy homes? And we're talking about, you know, people's pronouns.
Yeah, that's right. Sure. I just want to say this before you jump in. I firmly believe in, you know, I've changed my positions, obviously, since I first started with political commentary like 10 years ago. I used to be just a very like diehard, total free market guy. And I've moved on that. I believe property rights are
because I'm a cook, and you know, I have good ideas, but they're you know, they're not that great. So I want the government to implement my ideas for me. Gay. Oh wait, I have a button for that. Yep. I have no respect for that. I have zero respect. Yeah, I used to be free market, but you know, things weren't going the way that I wanted them to. So I decided that the government should make them the way that I want them. That's what I heard. Listen again. Let me see. Tell me if you agree or disagree.
Before you jump in, I firmly believe in, you know, I've changed my positions, obviously, since I first started with political commentary like 10.
All right, so I want a 1 if you agree with me, and I want a 2 if you think I'm drunk and talking out my ass.
10 years ago, I used to be just a very like diehard, total free market guy. And I've moved on that. I believe property rights are extremely important, but part of the reason that I believe that that's true is because people who own property are a lot more difficult to control and push around. And the issue...
What do property rights have to do with giving the government power? We can stop the government at property rights and respect property rights. I agree with you. I am not an anarchist. Government is needed, but very minimally, merely to enforce the free market capitalism, merely to enforce the borders of our country, merely to enforce our property rights. That's all that we need them for. But that's not good enough. That's not making society exactly as I want it. So I want the government to tell other people to live the way I want them to live.
with communism and the issue with hypercapitalism, even though they express themselves very differently, and even though under communism you have many horrific instances of people being slaughtered. I don't mean to downplay any of that, but one of the same economic issues you see with both of those is that all of the property ends up centralized in the hands of a small group of people who have control over it. So, of course,
if you are here on Christmas Day and you're not subscribed to the channel, it's gonna make me cry. Please, just subscribe. Come on, I'm here for y'all.
In a communist country, that's the party members, and in a capitalist country that doesn't have the proper regulations in place, that's the capitalist class, and your average person ends up without property. So what we need to do is structure our regulations so that the largest number of people possible can own property. I think that's the way that you have a flourishing system.
I'm hopeful. I don't disagree with that. I just don't think the government should force it.
If you own nothing, you're not going to be happy.
No, right.
It's the opposite of what the World Economic Forum says.
What the World Economic Forum, the principle they're operating under is actually derived from a quote from Harriet Tubman. I freed many slaves. I would have freed many more if only they knew they were slaves. The inverse is what the World Economic Forum wants to introduce. Take from them the knowledge of their freedom and they won't miss it.
That's horrifying.
Are people so pissed off? Is the pendulum now swinging in the other direction?
Yes.
Because that's what I'm...
I told ya.
What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. And when did I tell you? What did I say? What happened when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
The pendulum is moving in the right direction. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that he was saying that, but that is what you express when you undercut the idea of the free market with any notion of what the government should do. That's the message that you're saying. Well, I like free market capitalism, but I don't like how America looks, and I don't trust Americans to make America look the way I want, even if we did have free market capitalism. So I want the government to make it so that people have to live as I want them to live. No, he didn't say that. But that's exactly what he thinks. That's exactly what he believes. And that's exactly how your average neocon thinks. And goddamn right he is a neocon. Pay no attention to the D.
What?
Okay, I won't. Yeah, yep. You'll own nothing and be happy. They really believe that, and well, I say they believe that, but they can make people believe that very easily, and that's the issue that I think that they're talking about. So I mean, we already have a young generation that has absolutely no idea what privacy means. It isn't hard to extrapolate. Yep. Yeah. So that, I mean, Seamus, if you happen to see this and I've strawmanned you or misrepresented your position, then feel free to tell me I'm wrong. But this is my interpretation of the words that Seamus has said.
I'm seeing.
That's why they have to indict Trump, right? Because for years the media could just say this person's racist, this person's sexist, this person's homophobic, and that was enough to destroy that person's career. But it didn't destroy Trump. And so because the media no longer has the ability to shut people up, the state actually has to come in and shut people up. And you're right.
See, that's what he wants. I don't know if you know this. Now, I appreciate you, brother. But I know, unless you are Jesus of, fucking, I wish I had a better joke there. Jesus was not born on December 25th. That's some more bullshit that the Catholics stole from the pagans. Christmas barely has anything to do with Christianity. Yeah, but welcome to the party. Dots and Comedy says everything is subscription based. No one will know what ownership is in 10 years. I agree. Pay no attention to the demons behind the curtains. I mean, that's what they want. But we know better, don't we?
It's making people angry.
This DEI stuff is not just in IBM. It's in everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm getting the messages from all the people inside all the companies. So it feels like whatever pressure it was to adopt the DEI, now it's just the pendulum swung. Is that happening?
It's the bravery. I mean, how about we just talk about the hard numbers of these Disney movies, and what do they lose, $1 billion in their last releases? The latest Marvel movie was the lowest grossing out of anything that they've done so far.
Even I haven't seen the Marvels yet. I'm the last motherfucker who's like, yo, MCU, Marvel, let's go. I've been riding hard. They've been putting out What If. Like, I'm with it. Even I haven't seen the Marvels. I mean, was never going to pay for it, but I haven't even downloaded it yet. I haven't even pirated it yet.
Yeah, get one, go broke.
Can we get a round of applause for that?
Disney lost $1 billion on it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because I didn't get to see all of the movies up to Endgame in order, then I'm, riding on this false hope that, or this, I don't know if it's false hope, but it seems that way, that they're going to pull everything together with the Mutant Saga or the multiverse. So like, I didn't get to see that. I saw every movie from Hulk. Well, I guess technically I saw Hulk when it came out, but I saw all the movies up to Infinity War. I binged them. And I knew what happened at the end of Infinity War. And then I only got to see Endgame in theaters. So it's just like, I didn't know that everything was like, it's all connected. I didn't know. So I love stuff like that. And so if I had known that that's what the MCU was, I would have been all about it. But I didn't know. So now that I know, I'm like, okay, come on. Like you can pull it together. You did it once. I'm not expecting another Endgame, but you could do something. And I mean, yeah, well, fuck it. I mean, please tell me when you stop with, all right, we're not even going to go there, but point being, if I haven't seen the Marvels, nobody's seen the Marvels.
I think, what is it? The last 10 films lost a collective $1 billion. The latest MCU movie which was the Marvels was lower grossing than the Incredible Hulk in 2008, which is considered to be their worst. I think people are just saying, we'll find something else. We're done with it. It's kind of remarkable that some of the greatest victories come from people just being like, I'm leaving. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
They just say, I'm not going to look. You know what I always used to say whenever they would make these video games?
Absolutely. The question is, there's a lot of disconnected stuff going on, but it's all connected to each other. And the question is, how are they going to, so like they're telling this part of the story and this part of the story and this part of the story and this part of the story. It's how are they going to connect everything together? But absolutely everything is connected.
That we're all woke or whatever. I'd say, hey, that's great. I'm really happy for you that you got your video game with the pink-haired woman. I'm not going to buy it, but you do your thing. And then it turns out nobody else wanted to buy it either.
So James, you have other companies reaching out to you?
Yes, constantly. Usually on Signal or on our website, just nonstop. Banks, institutions. I mean, I prefer video because I think documents are not as powerful, but it's nonstop. It just seems like it takes one and then a crescendo.
You know this. Just give them a camera and have them ask the HR person about the document, right? And then you get a video.
There's a lot of this, like I have a mortgage, I have a wife, I have a kid. It's always these conversations.
How do you respond to that?
It's tough. I mean, I don't have a mortgage and kids, not yet, but it's tough to empathize. The one individual was very inspired by that one clip that you and I are talking about.
It's very powerful.
The pastor was
like a minister.
It was a minister talking to me about how afraid he was.
He should resign from the ministry.
What are we talking about? What is happening? I know I'm drunk. I'm not that drunk.
I'm not a minister.
Honestly.
I'm not qualified to advise the minister. And I said to the person, what I say is, what's the worst thing that can happen to you?
A lot of people are saying this, and it's a shame because Loki is a fucking masterpiece. Everything else has been from meh to straight shit. But Loki, seasons 1 and 2 together, like Loki season 1 was awesome. Loki season 2 was pretty cool, but like Loki as a series with both seasons is fucking chef's kiss, and it's really good, but it's not really worth the price if that's the only thing you're buying it for, unfortunately. But I use somebody else's account, so
if you tell the truth. And he goes, oh, gee, I never thought about it that way. And this individual with an IBM had seen that clip and also saw the Elon Musk, F you, Bob speech. And Elon Musk, IBM and Disney canceled advertising. And the individual, let's call them IBM Deep Throat, said, what's the worst thing that happened to me? Because it kind of eats at you if you're seeing something horrible and you're just doing the job for the paycheck and the pension.
You know the worst thing is?
Tears.
Well, I worry that there's too many people who don't feel that. They don't feel that soullessness. They just accept that this is what life is. So I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know what it is, but I think there's a certain type of person who understands that that's not living a life. And then there's everybody else who's just like, yeah, I guess this is what we do. Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that?
Is it your soul? So you're confronted with this horrible decision. I either do this job and I can't live with myself, or I tell the truth and I lose my job. And what I'm seeing is the trajectory of people. You know what? I'm going to tell the truth and lose my job.
All I think is, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with him about the whistleblowers, but I think what you're getting is the people who never felt any connection to that job, and or the people who always saw, oh, this is not what I signed up for. I was never trying to be part of this. And it's just, you don't know until it's too late. And so now that I know, I was always going to be the type of person to tell you and risk losing my job. I think that is way more likely than it's just that people are getting fed up. I don't think that's the case at all, because things are getting way worse, and we don't see an uptick in the number of whistleblowers that we see across the board. To think that it's only what we hear out of Project Veritas or OMG, that's the only corruption that exists. Okay, Biden voter. Okay.
The worst thing that could happen to you if you tell the truth, you'll be set free.
And I feel like
I agree with
well, or you could die, which, you know, if you don't believe in an afterlife, isn't necessarily the same thing, but semantics, right?
I feel like Tucker and I...
That's Christianity.
Absolutely.
The truth will set you free.
That's right.
The truth shall set you free. And sometimes the...
Tim, come on, bro. Be a fucking man. You are the default, not the default, the disaffected liberal, non-religious person, happens to believe in God, but you are not religious. This is the most frustrating part of being a fan of Tim Pool. Because I don't necessarily think that he's merely pandering. Yes, he is pandering. He is pandering. But I don't think he's merely pandering. I think in the pandering, he's convincing himself, just like Ayaan Hirsi Ali, that he is a Christian. But you're not. You don't believe that Jesus Christ saved your life by being God who killed himself. You don't believe that. So you're not Christian. Even if you believe the truth shall set you free. Even if you believe it is better that 10 innocent men go 10 innocent men go guilty than 10 guilty men go free than 1 innocent man be killed. It doesn't matter. You are not a Christian unless you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior. And neither of us do that. There's a lot more of us here, too. But yeah, Christians don't have enough representation in conservative politics, right?
The worst thing, being free, is actually the best thing. But they don't see it that way because they got the mortgage and the job and the roof and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They have to have food, shelter, you know, et cetera.
And it is hard. It is scary. I can respect that.
Well,
it's very difficult.
Dostoevsky said...
I need to hear that again. Hold on. I'm not sure I heard what I think I heard.
Sometimes
Christianity.
Absolutely.
The truth will set you free.
That's right.
The truth shall set you free. And sometimes the worst thing, being free, is actually the best thing.
Okay, sometimes the worst thing, being free, is actually the best thing.
But they don't see it that way.
But they don't see it that way. Okay?
Because they got the mortgage and the job and the roof and Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Okay, so I absolutely believe in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't understand how needing to pay for you food and shelter is at all relevant to what you're talking about. I'm not saying that per se. Tim is a notorious fence sitter. He's not picking a side on that anytime soon, but he is. He just did. Before, he's, yup. I started the whole thing, and what did he do? Yup. And now he's doing the same thing again. He's purposely saying, oh, the truth. Do you like? Come on. You really don't think that Tim knew that was based in Christianity, and he's gonna get a hey, good job, buddy, from the other Christians at the table? Come on, the other Christians in the audience, the entire Discord community that's all Christians. Come on.
But they don't see it that way because they got the mortgage and the job and the roof and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They have to have food, shelter, et cetera.
And we do have to have food, shelter, et cetera. I'm very confused as to what he's saying. What does that have to do with freedom?
It is hard. It is scary. I can respect that.
Well, it's very difficult.
Exactly. So
So
what are you saying?
See it that free. And sometimes the worst thing, being free, is actually the best thing. But they don't.
Because he's being real snarky, like, yeah, well, actually not. And they are doing this thing that's wrong.
See it that way because they got the mortgage and the job and the roof and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They have to have food, shelter, et cetera.
And then what does Tim say?
It is hard. It is scary. I can respect.
It is hard. Oh, wait. People are not agreeing with what I'm saying.
Respect that.
Well, it's very difficult.
Oh, it's very difficult. Then what the fuck are you saying?
Dostoevsky said, your worst sin is that you have destroyed and betrayed yourself for nothing. And when you think about that quote, when you look at the situation that a lot of people are in, they think they're making the right decision for themselves and their mortgages and their families right now. But in reality, they're making the worst decision for their future, for their children, for this country. As of course, all these little decisions, everyone's saying, I'm just doing.
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant? This is America. You're allowed to make the worst and stupidest decisions as long as it's only yourself that you're hurting. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about this?
My job that keeps adding to the initial destruction as this country is being sabotaged from within, and it's only being sabotaged with our acquiescence, with our participation in it, with us voting for it, with us clicking and liking and giving our money to these creatures that serve essentially Satan.
Okay, let me tell you what just happened in the last 6 minutes. In the last 6 minutes of airtime, what you just saw was a bunch of people who didn't really know what to say, thought they had a thing, and then realized that it wasn't the thing that they thought it was, and then just started rambling until they found some talking point. Nobody has said anything since James started talking. Go back and watch it. They have said nothing. And then you just come back to, and we vote for it. Nothing that you said has any relation to you saying that people are not voting for these things, so they should, like, you're not saying anything. I'm curious if I even want to give away whatever. Let's just see if it goes anywhere.
These people don't serve you, don't care about you. You need to make sure every dollar you spend goes towards a good cause.
You need to download Public Square and shop at businesses that support your values, our values. And that's one simple way, because
or support the Indian Jesus.
Maybe all you're going to do is buy a, barbecue pulled pork, but you're supporting a company that believes in this country.
Yeah, I want to plug something else. Something I just
No.
Two.
Cancel cycle. But I also think here's one potential kids in the home. It's scary. I mean, it's not a small decision to make. But I also think here's one potential upside. If you tell the truth and stand on principle and act in a dignified way as a man, the people around you want that. Women want that. They don't want to be married to a wuss. And I do think, in the dynamic in marriage, especially with small children in the home, is don't screw it up. We've got a lot at stake. We need the money and all that. But I think if you say calmly, like, my dignity requires me to tell the truth, you will get a lot of understanding. And I think long-term, your wife will respect you more. They want a little fire in a man, and your children will respect you more. And that is worth a lot. Absolutely say.
And well, okay, I will never say that people like Tim, Tucker, Luke, James, people like that are in the same stratosphere as losers like Fresh and Fit. But I genuinely don't know. I'll have to go back and watch it. I genuinely don't know if we got anything of value from these men. I did my job. I did my job. I brought y'all value from watching this bullshit. But the first hour of this and the second hour of this, it just seems like they ran out of things to say and started just jerking each other off. I'm genuinely at a loss of words because I was so fired up with the first half of this. When we did the first half, I was like, gang, this is going to be awesome. I'm so unimpressed by so many people. I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of being unimpressed. I know I am not the biggest, baddest, strongest, smartest. I know I'm not. There's not any. I'm not any of those things. So where the fuck are y'all? Where are the people who are going to do this better than me? Where are they? We have Tim Pool, Luke Rudkowski, Seamus Coughlin, and Tucker Carlson and others on a stage. And I'm angry at what I'm hearing. We're fucked. We're fucked. If you can't talk to a live audience with 7 other of your best friends who agree with all of the same political things for 90 minutes and say something new, then I'm disappointed. Maybe I had my expectations too high. Maybe I expected too much out of Tim Pool, Tucker Carlson, Luke Rudkowski, Seamus Coughlin, and James O'Keefe. Maybe I expected too much. Don't forget Charlie Kirk. Maybe I expected too much. But does anybody think that some lowly schmuck with barely any with barely what? I don't even know what it is anymore, to be honest. I don't keep track. I know y'all are here. So let's say 2,000 subscribers. Is there any reason that you believe that I would not do well sitting in this seat? You should. That's Tucker Carlson. He should be better than me. He should be better than me. Just saying. So you should do the second hour of JBP and Michael Malice. Okay. I think it would be a way better than what we are stuck on right now. Yep. What it's become. I mean, yeah, I'll definitely check that out. But I'm disappointed in all of them. What happened? I used to don't discount Vivek. Always get a new perspective in his interviews and podcasts. Yeah, absolutely. But he's not here. And it shouldn't need that one person. Between all of these people, we should have been able to get more than 1 hour of good content. So the Soul said, shout out to Lech and all of us. I feel like we did a better job at this than they did in this last hour. You're goddamn right. Dilly dilly to all of us. I don't know. I'm just here. Yeah. Okay. So I'll definitely check that out. Well, I mean, you know, I still think that, like So said, I think that we had a grand old time. I had a good time with you guys. I definitely had fun hanging out with you guys. I was rushing back home to come and do this. I'm very glad that I did. You know, I could have very, very easily just went, hey, it's Christmas. Even though it's Monday, it's Christmas. I'm very glad that I didn't. I hope, you know, shout out to Richard. Anybody else who, you know, really needed this stream. I'm glad to be there for you. And if you're doing other stuff and you're just hanging out, I appreciate you. So let's give a big shout out to Guam Tech, the sponsor of our stream, with the big boy, that $20 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. I very, 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 very much appreciate it. That means the world to me. You guys mean the world to me. And I don't know. I mean, if this is what we can expect from the GOP, then on the one hand, things probably won't go very well in general. But for me, I feel like it could be on AmFest 2024. Just saying. So I don't know. I hope you guys had fun. I am a little drunk, so I forgot what I said, and I didn't say it already, but thank you so much for hanging out. Merry Christmas to you all. If you don't celebrate, then you should, because Christmas is an American holiday. Fuck all of you who disagree. No, I'm just kidding. I love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out. Once again, I have been your host, Left, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Merry Christmas. Peace.